All right, welcome to the Sae Bae cast number 175 with Rigondeaux. Rig, how are we doing today?
Solid as gold. Third time on the podcast, baby. Third time's the charm. Thank you very much for having me again.
My pleasure, as always. No, it genuinely is a really fun time talking to you. As I've said in previous podcasts, and I think I've, definitely mentioned it on some other videos as well. Like, you were an inspiration when you first started streaming. Like, I remember seeing your journey just starting out streaming. And I was like, this guy's living the dream right now. Like, this guy came out of nowhere. I mean, he's been playing the game. He loves the game. And he just decides to start streaming and he builds something from it. And I just, at the time I was in college, didn't have much going for me. I didn't know what the hell I was doing at school. It just,
Yeah.
and you particularly were like a big inspiration to getting into content creation as well as like a few other streamers. But I just remember those good old days when you were, doing the rune crafting grind to 100 mil and then like the herb lore bank standing at the GE and all that. So just good times. And it really is a pleasure to be able to talk once again.
Isn't it wild? I started the foundation of my streaming life just from rune crafting, nature runes. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Come a long way, man.
I know it's for those watching on YouTube's end, I have a lot of people listen on Spotify nowadays, but I have Rig standing next to me at the Canvas Bank, and he has his sexy brand new infernal cape. Well, one of them, because now you have two, correct?
That's right. 2 times Zuckslayer, man.
That is
What wild
fucking
to actually
wild.
think. It's so wild to actually say that I have actually defeated Zuck twice now. Uh,
Dude, and you just did it back to back, right?
I did it back to back. I got the cape, then I got a task and killed him again straight away. No fails.
Bro, that is wild. I mean, most
Yeah.
people get their first infernal cape, and the people that want to continue. First of all, there's a massive portion of players that just never want to go back to the inferno. They
Yeah.
suffered and no, they're done. So one, it's already impressive that you wanted to go back, and two, to get it actually back to back without succumbing to all the nerves. Because for me, I mean, I think I failed like the next 3 attempts on task,
Yeah.
and it was just like I hate this, but I eventually got over that hump.
I so how do I explain this? I thought 2 months prior to starting the Inferno, when I was getting close, when I got the Bofa, when I was going for the Devout Boots, I was thinking in my head, I think I'm gonna like it. I love wave-based mechanics, and when I started my attempts, I knew straight away that I'd love it. I love that it's kind of like solving puzzles, isn't it? Really, you look at where all the monsters spawn, and you think of the solve straight away, and it feels so satisfying when you really solve the waves really easily. And honestly, mate, after getting my first cape, it's my favorite content in the game by far. I love it, bro. I made the Inferno my home, not my prison.
That's the way to look at it, honestly. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, yeah, I love it, man. And the feeling of beating Zuck, it's second to none, man.
And
You
walk.
know,
Yeah, go ahead.
sorry. And now that I have the cape, it still hasn't sunk in, by the way. I got my first cape on the 11th of May this month. And when viewers come into my stream, baby, they'll say, nice infernal cape. And in the back of my mind, I still think they're flaming me for having a fire cape. It hasn't quite sunk in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think they're being sarcastic. I'm like, oh, fuck you, man. And then I'm like, oh shit, I have the infernal cape. Never mind.
When you were going for that second task, or the first task, I should say, and you were
Yeah.
killing those Califights, I popped into your stream and I saw you just wearing that classic full bandos with the infernal cape, dude. When I got my infernal cape, the first thing all I wanted to do, honestly, was just go slay, do melee slayer with my cape,
Yeah.
and that's all I did for the next
Just
week.
stare at it.
It's fucking
Yeah,
awesome. It's such a good feeling. You're just walking
it is.
around like a total Giga Chad, no worries anymore. You're just home free, just chilling.
Yeah. The Inferno has actually done a lot for my mental health, believe it or not, baby. So before I had the Infernal Cape, throughout the years as a player, deep down, I viewed myself as kind of a loser at the game, man. never really achieved anything spotlight worthy. And deep down, I did feel low morale and really, yeah, just bad, I guess. But ever since I got the Infernal Cape, I know that if I put my mind to something, I can achieve it in this game now. I don't feel hopeless anymore. I know that I can go on and even improve even more now, all because of me getting the Infernal Cape. It gave me such self-confidence and belief.
It's so pivotal. That's exactly how I felt. I mean,
Yeah.
that's how a lot of people feel. I mean, you're also a content creator, so you're in this different category of player where you're on the spotlight already with hundreds of people
Yes.
watching you live. And yeah, that takes a toll over time if, if this game is truly your passion and now there's an expectation, I mean, it's just like a cultural expectation
That's right.
if to get an infernal cape. I mean, that's just like
Mm,
so pivotal in any account's progression. And when there's one thing to truly not care about it, and there are a lot of people that truly don't care about it, but a lot of the time that not
mm.
caring is really just a deep fear of going
Yeah,
for it.
that's right. I mean, on my main back in the day, I genuinely didn't really care about it because I was a 200 miller back then. I didn't care about PVM goals. I had a whole different mentality back then. But on my Ironman, I knew that I would always go for it one day because starting an Ironman gave me the ambition to improve. You have to face content, otherwise you won't get the items from that content. You know, I chose Ironman to improve, to get to moments like this, the Infernal Cape.
And what's the best thing about it, and honestly, I mean, I think for you, it was even before that. I mean, just the fact that most people never saw you as a PVMer and you go
No,
to Corrupted Gauntlet and you make that place your bitch. I mean, you literally started loving it and you said you were not going to stop until you got that BOFA and you literally stuck to your word and just did it.
yeah.
I was very fucking impressed because CG is a prison for a lot of people.
I think it's the same thing as Inferno, same as CG. You either love it or you hate it, like Marmite. And I don't know. I loved it. I found CG very satisfying, and I think it's because of that drop table, baby. I like, I like, GP, my brother, and you
Hmm.
get a lot of GP from CG. So that gave me the drive to continue doing CG. Again, it's kind of satisfying to beat the corrupted on left too.
Yeah,
Got a
no,
really nice drop table, don't you think? I've got like
yeah.
270 mil GP in my bank sitting there all pretty because of CG.
Yeah, I think for me, the similar content was Demonic Gorillas back in the day when Monkey Madness 2 dropped. I mean, the only thing I had really mastered at that point was like KBD. I mean, like literally, I had not
Yeah.
done anything, and I stuck to my little comfort zone of going to KBD. Occasionally, I would, maybe go to some DKs with a friend or something, but it was really just KBD. Was like that's where I felt comfortable. And then Demonics came out, and I just started
Yeah.
loving it because it challenged me. Like it of course for a lot of people that's not challenging content, but for me it just started getting the ball rolling of like, oh, I actually enjoy learning a new mechanic, and it feels good getting better at something. And
So I guess that was your first piece of content where you really had to switch your brain on
yeah,
that you experienced.
and I loved it. I became
Yeah.
absolutely obsessed with it. And it was just the most simple thing. And a lot of people actually think it's
Yeah.
bullshit to just have to, count to three. And, because back then there
Yeah.
was no real good
I
switcher.
I personally can't stand count mechanics, man.
Oh, it's
I,
painful. Don't get me wrong. It
Yeah,
is.
I just think that's a really bad design idea to have a player constantly count to one, two, three. I think that's terrible, bro. I think that's actually kind of bad for the brain too, man. You know, constantly counting to
Brain
one,
rot.
two, three. But yeah, no, I'm with you, bro. I was always that player that was viewed as the person that likes AFK, chill stuff. But as the years have gone by, I actually find it satisfying and more thrilling to do content where I have to use my brain. I have to think. I have to strategize.
Hmm.
So I'm totally different these days. Don't get me wrong. While I'm not streaming, I still love to do my AFK stuff. While I'm streaming, I love to do the challenging, more brainy stuff.
I'm totally with you. Even on stream, I
But yeah,
occasionally like to chill too. It's just,
I
it's nice
I'd love
having,
to.
yeah, go for it.
Sorry. I'd love to actually do PVM off stream, but as a content creator, I can't
Yeah.
because I've got to save the drops for on stream. It's part of my job, right?
That's
Otherwise, I would
important.
actually be PVMing constantly. Constantly. Sorry, carry on though,
Yeah.
please.
No, I was just saying, I mean, it's nice getting that balance, especially when there isn't that mental hurdle. Because
Yeah.
when you have that mental hurdle of like, like I would love to be able to get this item or go for this grind, but it's just I'm too scared of it, or this is going to be way too taxing, or just I don't want to learn this. As soon as you
Yeah.
just get over that hurdle and
Gotta
just put
push
yourself
yourself.
in, just put yourself in it, just do it.
Yeah. Yeah. At the end of the day, thinking like that, oh, I don't think I'll like it and blah, blah. How do you know until you actually try it?
Yeah.
Give it a try. Maybe you will like it. Surprise yourself.
And for a lot of us, I mean, a lot of us gamers, this is just pure projection on my part, but like like RuneScape really has taught me a lot. And there really are a lot of connections to real life if you were to implement them. Just getting over fears and things like that. Like there's so
Yep.
many things that I'm scared of in the real world of like going to do. Like, I
Spiders
can
is
just go on
mine.
a list of things, but a lot of them would be very, very beneficial to my own mental well-being and to other things if I just put myself out there and got over fears. And it's
Yeah.
kind of cool how there's like that relatability with the game into real life if you chose to.
Fear holds a lot of us back. Mm-hmm. And we don't really realize our true potential because we let fear hold us back.
Amen. So let's rewind the tape a little bit and let's hear because I'm trying to think how long it's been since I last had you on. When was that? Was that
It was,
2 years ago?
was it?
Or maybe
Was
it
it
was just
2 years
maybe it
ago?
was just a year now. I literally cannot
Wow.
remember. It's been a long
Just
time
want
though,
to
it
say
feels
one
like.
thing
Yeah.
before we move on, baby.
Yeah.
The Inferno. Even though I have two KC right now, I'm still not really getting ahead of myself. I know a lot of players like turn instant elitist when they get the Infernal cape. I'm staying in my lane. I still have a lot to learn about the game. I still class myself as a beginner PVMer. I mean, I'm going for a third cape, baby, because I believe third time's the charm. And then I'll leave it for a bit. And I died twice on the 60 waves on my last few attempts on task. So I'm still learning and I'm still not that great yet. So, even though I got the cape, stay humble.
Yep. Amen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything's a learning process. I mean, you literally see the best. And I mean, to be fair, the best speedrunners are dying constantly because they choose to risk things and they choose
Yeah.
to do all these other things. But yeah, I mean, dying is inevitable and that shouldn't ever
No,
be
no, yeah,
something that
of
holds you
course.
back.
But also, man, when I pictured my Inferno streams, I thought maybe I'd get about 400, 500 viewers on the later waves. I totally underestimated the magnitude of the amount of interest that them streams would gather. I don't know if you've seen any of the
Yeah. No, I was
I
literally there when you got your second cape. It was like
I
1,600 viewers or something.
on the first on all of my attempts, baby, when I got to wave 60 plus, I'd be on 1,500 to 2,000 viewers.
Shit.
It was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. And I totally did not expect it. And I think maybe before I had the Infernal Cape, a lot of people didn't really take me serious as a player, goofy rig, very clumsy as a player. But now I've got the Infernal Cape. Maybe some people believe in me now, and they take me a bit more serious. I got the cape pretty fast too, man.
I
For,
know.
sorry.
I saw a tweet of yours saying, like the streams have been popping off lately. Maybe I should just keep milking the cape. Was there something in the back of your mind thinking like maybe I should just keep milking, like just get really, really close, keep edging people, and just milk this for the next couple months? Or was
I
that
mean,
just you just couldn't do it? Just couldn't
I
bring
mean,
yourself.
I actually wasn't purposely like people were getting pissed off when I was taking breaks behind pillars, but I was honestly just trying to calm my nerves down. That's all it was. I don't like pissing around and purposely wasting people's time.
Yeah.
I just needed to calm down, and I'm not done with the Inferno yet. I just want one more cape, just one more. I don't want to leave on a loss, baby. I want to leave the Inferno with a win.
Yeah.
I tried it on task. I beat it first time on task, and then I thought, you know what? One more time. I want 3, and I've died a couple of times, so I'm there until I get the cape, and then I'll move on.
And you're a cape collector, is that right?
I want to be eventually, yeah. I want to leave the Inferno with a 3, but eventually I do want to get like 20 or 30 sitting in the bank. No hand-ins, just like my fire cape Slayer tasks back in the day. I'm gonna collect the capes and I'll eventually get the pet Vromzok.
Hell yeah.
That's the plan. That's the plan. But anyway, I
Yeah.
seem big-headed when I say that. Oh, I didn't. The streams were popping off. They were insane, bro. And I gained so much support, and I've gained so many lovely viewers, bro. But as a player, bro, not a streamer, as a player, staying in my lane, I've got a lot to improve on.
Awesome. Okay, let's again like just go back and see what the whole journey was since then because if I'm not mistaken, I'm trying to think. What was the first podcast I had you on? Was that when you were when you were playing your O5 account?
I
And
think it
then
might have been, yeah.
and then the second appearance, this is my own fault for not having just looked back. Somebody's just going to be able to look back at those old episodes and know exactly what it was. But you died on that hardcore and you started the Ironman and you've made just so many strides and you've even started learning chambers and you've gotten your scroll. So let's just hear a little bit of the whole journey, like the significant things that you've accomplished on your Ironman.
So yeah, I did initially start as a hardcore I'm Iron Man, but I could not stand it because it was actually holding me back as a player. I was too scared to do content, and that's not what I started Iron Man for. I originally started Iron Man with the purpose of doing content that I was never going to do on a main, because there was no benefit. I'd just buy it from the GE. But having that red badge just meant that I was a bit too afraid to do content. So I just suicided one day. I literally woke up one day and I thought, fuck this. I went to the Heroes Guild and I suicided at the Blue Dragon and made myself a normal Iron Man. You know? Did you start as a hardcore yourself or?
Yeah, I did, and it's all. I have always held the view that it's if you haven't mastered the game relatively, like if you haven't
Yeah.
learned content, like don't
Yeah.
starting out as a hardcore unless you're one of those very few unique rare players that just really doesn't give a fuck and they're just like I'm just gonna start as a hardcore because why not?
Yeah.
But most people subconsciously hold to that status, and when they die, they lose a bunch of motivation and they get depressed and they're considering
Yeah.
remaking again, and then it's just like, why not just enjoy yourself, be a normal Iron Man, and really
Yeah.
take huge risks and just not have this horrible lingering feeling of at any point I could die. Like that's just the worst.
I was just playing with the game of anxiety, man, with anything that I did, and to hell with that. What was the question? Sorry, the things that I've
Yeah, just
achieved
significant
online.
steps that
Yeah,
you thought were pivotal to your account.
there's not too many right now because I really, even though I have the infernal cape and blah blah, I've still scratched the surface with PVM. I still need to get all of the items from raids. I've barely dipped my toes into raids, but I would say the most pivotal and most memorable game-changing things that I've done as an Iron Man is get my Bofa because that has opened a lot of doors for me as a player. I would say the Infernal Cape is, of course, my very best achievement thus far. But one thing that really did change the game for me as a PVMer, baby, and I actually, it was Atticon that taught me this. I used to spam click when I would move, in PVM, and movement is so important in PVM. And you must know Atticon is right,
Oh
baby.
yeah.
He's the goat, the grandmaster, incredible teacher. He has transformed me as a player. Me and him are really good friends, and I've always been a spam clicker until Atticon came into my stream about a year ago, and he said, "Rig, click with purpose." And just by him saying that, bang, I did. I started clicking with purpose. Single clicks to move. Single clicks to move. Click with purpose. Move with calculation.
To be fair, I will say that the engine has improved enough to actually reliably trust your single clicks because
Yes.
years ago, I mean, there would literally be dead clicks. So you try to click with purpose and
True.
you just get fucked up.
True, true, true. Yeah, you got a point there.
But it is
Yeah,
true nowadays. You can definitely do
yeah,
that. You can trust it.
yeah. Movement's a massive one for me. Yeah.
Yeah, CG seemed to
Oh yeah.
I remember seeing the early CGs you were running, and then later. I mean, because what KC did you get your bow for those that don't know?
935-ish.
God damn.
And I would not care if I went 3,000 right. There's something that still has stuck with me, a perk that I have as a human being, as a player, and that's my will to never give in if I truly commit my heart to it. My 200 mils back in the day, I was never gonna give up, and it's still the same to this day. Even though I'm not a complete no life like I used to be, if my heart is set on something in PVM, I will not stop killing the boss until I get what I want. Period. I have too much pride, and I would never want to embarrass myself by failing a goal that I've set myself, or my viewers know about.
That's great. Now, yeah.
Too much arrogance. Too much arrogance.
Yeah, it's a good trait when you're going for something important for
Yeah.
like, your account, though.
Yeah. I want my viewers to know that, Rig set a goal, and that's it. He's not going to stop until he gets it. This is it. This is the plan now. I'd never want to be known as that player that, he might burn out, man. Never, never. Very committed player.
What is next?
My history speaks for itself at the end of the day, man.
What?
Sorry?
I was gonna ask what is next? Just initially, like after the third Infernal Cape, do you have any plans for higher level PVM?
Yeah, I've got a rough plan right now, and it's kind of sporadic. But my plan right now is after the Infernal Cape, just fun really. But I want to get my Blade of Seldor. Then I want to go to Vardavordis, however you say his name. I want to get my Autor. And then after that, random, but after that, I think I want to go for the SGS, because that's nice for the Colosseum now. Then after that, I'm going to go to Theatre of Blood for the first time to get my Avenic Defender and maybe Spoon a Scythe. And then after that, we'll see. But primarily, I just want to get Biss everything. That's it.
That's a great feeling. What about next? I don't know if you just said next. I was.
Oh yeah, sorry. So next, my primary goals for this year was Infernal Cape and full Torva. So Infernal Cape's out of the way. Torva is something that I'm going to start the grind after Runefest, if Runefest happens. But yeah,
I know. What the fuck?
I know it's so bad, but yeah, Torva after Runefest. Hopefully, that's going to be like a later year grind for me. Yeah, Runefest, man, I can't believe it. It's in jeopardy, baby.
So what is all the details on that? Do you know a little bit more?
Yeah, so Insomnia is the event, the location where Runefest is going to be held this year. And unfortunately, Insomnia have laid off a lot of employees, like a royal fuck ton. And I guess it's kind of interrupted a lot of things that's meant to be going on. I don't know. But, lots of employees lost is always a bad sign. Very bad sign.
So they obviously postponed the additional 1,000 tickets that was announced a few weeks ago. And it seems like there is no, I mean, even in the content creator Discord, because they made a public announcement on the RuneScape page saying we don't have any news, any more like announcements at this time. Just know that those tickets are not for sale today. And then in the Discord, Aiza said like, hey, we cannot say anything right now. We don't know what's happening, but
that's red flags.
I know. Fucking A, man.
Massive red flags.
Why does this have to happen?
I have a feeling like whoever is in Jagex was like, this is bad. Don't say anything yet.
Yeah, literally. That's smart.
That's massive red flags.
Man, I especially feel bad for those that have already booked like a hotel and plane tickets and all this shit, because refunding a RuneFest ticket isn't a big deal, but pissing off and people losing potentially thousands of dollars is
because hotels like to charge you for the hotel, but then it's like £30 cheaper if you don't do the guaranteed booking or whatever it is, so a lot of people have probably lost out on a lot. But I have been hearing words that even if RuneFest doesn't happen, there'll still be an unofficial RuneFest happening in Birmingham for the people that can't cancel the hotels, etc. That sounds really fun to me, but also an unofficial RuneFest in Birmingham. I picture like hundreds of RuneScape players that can't handle the drink, that get drunk without security. That sounds bad also.
Yeah, or what was the tweet that I saw that was like top restaurants in Birmingham? It was like some fucking like Shell gas station or something.
Right. So
Meeting at a
I think it's
Shell. Yeah.
honestly, mate, I think it's kind of a meme, but Birmingham isn't that bad. It's just a meme.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not the nicest place on the planet, but it's not the worst place either in England. It's all right. It's all right. No one's gonna get stabbed or anything like that. It's just a meme.
Oh my god. Yeah. I love meetups nowadays. I had two of like my really first meetups with content creators, and
I seen some pictures of you and Tasty and everybody, right?
dude, it's such a good time. It just feels
Isn't it
so
magical?
surreal. It's so magical. It's so nerdy to say that, but like you see these people
It
on the
is.
television and then they're real and it's like this is amazing.
You finally see them in the physical.
Yeah.
Isn't Tasty the best guy ever?
He's
My boy
fucking
Max.
awesome.
He's great.
I love Max, and
I love him.
yeah, no, literally, I have nothing bad to say about any creator that I've met,
Nah.
any creator or viewer I've met,
Nah,
except
same.
for no, I'm kidding. Yeah, no, but I think also something that was really special was seeing like Aiza and Sween at TwitchCon.
Great guys.
Just
Great
popping
guys.
in and just seeing them like, wow, you guys exist. It's crazy.
Yeah. I was with them about 3 weeks ago at Aaron's house party. You know, he's a cool guy. He was a streamer. I was with them not too long ago. I actually met Sween for the first time at that party. Great dude.
I see you going out a lot with, relatively a lot compared to myself, with a lot of the content creators. You guys
Hey,
must
man.
live pretty close to be able to have
What
those
can I
meetups.
say, man? What can I say? I'm a very wanted guy. Always getting invited to party. I'm playing.
It is cool though, seeing any real life pictures with multiple creators is just awesome. So
Yeah, sure.
we'll see what happens with RuneFest.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, for real.
Fingers crossed. But honestly, if it doesn't happen, this unofficial RuneFest, I don't know if I'm gonna go to it. I don't know, man. Just because, in my early days, my hot-headed days, I made a lot of enemies, bro, and I never know who's gonna be there, right? Start trouble or whatever.
I just feel like I don't know. Maybe it's different, and maybe it's not even something we need to talk about. But it's just I feel like because I have my own online enemies. I just block them all. But like literally, if somebody actually met up with me in person, like I cannot see anything actually going south. Like I can't see anything actually going wrong. But just because I don't know, people talk a lot of shit online, but in person just feels like never. I don't know. But
Yeah, I get you, bro. Like the shit talkers probably don't even go to RuneFest at the end of the day, right?
Exactly. And if they did, it would just be like, yo, like it's all jokes, haha, like, because you're in the flesh and it's just like whatever.
No, I've had them kind of situations before, where I meet like a hate IRO and we've just hugged it out, man,
Yeah.
If you're cool with me, I'm cool with you at the end of the day, no matter what we've like been through on the internet between one another. If you shake my hand, I'll shake your hand. It's whatever, right? Don't hold any grudges.
Yeah, you've been streaming for what, 8 years?
8 years. 8 years this March that just passed. Turned
Wow.
8 years. It was March the 22nd or so when I streamed for the first time.
Nice. That's
Long time.
What have you learned through that experience, and what has changed I guess your perception of streaming in particular, and what are some lessons that you've learned just through content creation, being in the spotlight online with a lot of trolls and a lot of other amazing people on top of that? But what have you learned?
It's a really good question. I think we kind of spoke about this in the last podcast, but you know about my history. We spoke about my history on the past broadcast, and I tell you what, when I started streaming at the young age of 25, to me, being a 33-year-old, 25 is young to me when I look back at that age now. And when I started streaming, 2016, 25 years old, I still had a lot of demons from my past history, and I was still nice, but if someone fucked me off, it would just be uncontrollable rage and anger. I won't be able to control what I say. And I guess it was projection. It was a lot of projection. I just hadn't healed properly back then, but throughout the years, it all just simmered down, I guess. And over the years, I just learned to really control my emotions. It comes with time and age at the end of the day, baby. And now I'm a calm, calculated person, but I still have that cockiness to me. It's just all controlled now. It comes with age and maturing. At the end of the day, yeah.
It's also nice that the community at large is just older. We're not playing a
Yeah.
game like Fortnite where there's just continuously this new
Yeah.
12-year-old like age range that's coming into the game.
I just started my stream with the mind frame of the world is shit. I've been hurt a lot, verbally, mentally, physically, you name it. Throughout growing up, the world is shit, and everyone's out to get me. Fuck everybody. That was my mind frame back then. But the kindness and support that streaming and the RS community has shown me throughout the years, and multiple second chances and forgiveness, I realized that the world isn't actually all that bad. The world's given me a great gift with streaming, and I need to be thankful for that. My community too, and throughout the years, I've just learned to be grateful instead of hateful.
That's amazing. Because in streaming, it
You,
feels like endlessly there is this kind of risky nature to it because there is no real deep security. I mean, there's not really deep security with almost any pursuit nowadays with the world
yeah,
changing so rapidly. But with streaming, it always feels like this kind of intense just risk. But ultimately, I mean, you've been doing it for 8 years and it's remained very
yeah. You
reliable.
you know what I was like in the early days. I used to be a vortex, didn't I? At times, you've seen it. My
I
young my
Yeah.
my younger time.
No, but I mean to be fair, I don't know. I even though like our pasts are completely different. Like my childhood was, I mean, I've heard, stories of your childhood, not in any depth really,
Mm.
but I know to some extent of what you went through, and that's nothing like my childhood. But
We,
I
we we spoke about it in the last podcast, if you remember, baby. I opened up about my childhood.
Yeah, but I don't know the real extent of what that
Yeah,
does to somebody.
I guess I was kind of vague with what I said. It's best we keep it that way. But yeah,
but
sorry, carry
but
on.
ultimately, like, I try to empathize with that. I'm not perfect at it, and there's a lot of the time where it's hard to empathize with certain people I just don't like.
Mm,
But for you, I
yeah,
always felt this kind of like connection. Like, I don't know, I just thought, I think just the fact that you were so unique and just you did your thing, and
yeah.
you had your problems, but ultimately, like, tried to see beyond that, and I just always had a great time
I,
in your stream. So
I I had my major issues back at the start of streaming because I still had so many raw emotions from my past, but my heart still meant well to everybody back then. I was just really ill when I started. I was still ill from my past. That's all it boils down to, really. But now, I'm a soft baby. I'm too old for that crap now.
it is nice getting older because you just
Yeah.
keep learning and you keep growing, and
Yeah.
it's just like inevitable wisdom comes from getting older. Because yeah, I started at 23 streaming, and oh my
Yep.
god, like, I thought I was late to the game. I was so fucking young.
Nah, that's baby. 23 is baby, isn't it?
Yeah,
I,
and
I I'm actually loving growing older, baby. At the end of the day, how old are you, may I ask?
I'm turning 29 in like 3 weeks. So
Everybody always wishes they had youth. You're 29. You're nearly looking 30 in the eyes. Who do you prefer? The age you are now, or who you were at 22?
right now, and that the
Exactly.
best part about that is knowing that the older I am, the more I want to be that. And so that what is promising is that getting older, a lot of people are scared of getting older and like losing their youth, but
Mm,
ultimately knowing that the older you get, the more you're going to want to be that age. Like,
yeah.
I'm excited to, be 5 years older, 10 years older, 15 years older, or just, with all the life experiences that just come.
With age comes open-mindedness. If you want to go down that path, wisdom and just experience, and that's worth more than a pot of gold.
So what is new with Rig in the real world?
Nothing, nothing at all. Still the exact same as it was. Um, 2 or 3 years ago, I'm still living in this apartment. Still kind of an introverted person. Of course, I don't drink alcohol. Period. I don't do recreational drugs. I socially smoke, but that's very rare. As in cigarettes, that's very rare. That's like twice or 3 times a year. Apart from that, bro, I'm me. That's it. Just doing me. Just streaming. Going out for my walks daily. No relationship, no desire. Pardon me, no relationship and no desire for one either. I've been single for a long time now.
No desire for one. Is that temporary or is that?
Nah, nah, it's been like that for a long, long time. I want to be single. I don't want my life interrupted right now with a potential partner. I just don't want it. I like my life how it is right now. I don't think to myself that I need someone right now because at the end of the day, bro, I've had my fair share of relationships, and one thing I've learned about them is that getting into a relationship, being in love with someone, it's always a roll of the dice. You're either going to be happy or you're going to be very sad. It's either one or the other. That's what I've been my experience anyway. And right now, baby, I don't want to take that roll of the dice. Not while my streaming career's doing better than ever. I'm becoming a much better player. I'm focusing on what's important, and that's me right now.
That is important. Do you think I mean, I guess I don't know exactly what you mean. Do you think in the future you would be more open to it and it's just right now there's no room for that? Okay.
Right now, there's no room for it. But yeah, no, I don't want to be like celibate forever, right? Right. Of course, right now it's just not what I need. But in the future, cool. I love girls, baby. I absolutely adore them, bro. But right now, nah, I've got to focus on myself.
That is actually a healthy mindset to understand what you actually want right now and to not be just wishy-washy, like kind of want it, kind of don't, kind of.
I've always been especially being in my 30s, bro. As the years go by, I'm more sharp with knowing what I want and what I don't want.
That's good. On the, you mentioned smoking, a couple times a year, maybe. I've never smoked a cigarette before. I've never actually consumed any nicotine ever. So are you just built different? Like you just don't get addicted to that? Because I feel like a lot of people struggle with nicotine addiction.
I just have very strong discipline. Just that's all it is, bro. It's titanium discipline.
Sorry, let me also just back. Sure. I actually have consumed nicotine, but it's in the form of cigars. I've had a handful of cigars in my life. But it's just you're not inhaling it. That's kind of
it's just inhaling. Well, putting it, smoke in the mouth, right?
Yeah. So I should clarify that. But yeah, go on.
Yeah. Well, what was the question? Sorry.
No, just that's just. I've always been scared. I have that fear of even trying one real cigarette and inhaling that shit and just being like, I fucking love this, and then just going down.
And then you want to feel like that forever and blah blah. But no, I just have a good way of disconnecting from social practices, and then when I'm by myself, there's no need for that anymore.
That's good.
That's all it really boils down to, and my discipline. I have strong discipline. No intoxication. Period. No recreational drugs. Just how I've always been, really.
You also, I can't remember if we talked about this. You had a little phase of like baking several years back, and I thought that was
COVID times.
I had been following your Snapchat. I'm very inactive on Snapchat, but I would occasionally watch your stories and see some batch of cookies. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I want some cookies now. Like, oh God. That was a really cool phase, and do you still bake or cook at all?
Sometimes it's because when it was COVID, it was lockdown, and I had fuck all else to do, so I just thought, fuck it, I'm just gonna bake cookies. I don't know.
You made some amazing breakfast. I saw those avocado toast with bacon and shit. I was like, holy.
Oh yeah, I still eat things like that. I love to eat good food, bro. But the cook is right. When it was lockdown, I just thought to myself, you know what? I haven't got enough all else to do. I'm just gonna learn to bake something, but just that one thing, and get better and better at it. That's it, really. And 6 or 7 months down the line of practicing and learning baking, I eventually just came out with some bomb ass cookie recipe.
If there is if there is an unofficial RuneFest, you think you'd make a couple batches of cookies for the boys?
It's a really good idea. Really good idea.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's a really good idea because my recipe makes about 24 cookies, so that's plenty, right?
No,
And
that might be actually a bit too few. You might need to make a couple batches, maybe three.
true, yeah. Well, I give it to the special people, right? But my cookies are really good, right? Turkish hazelnuts, Lindt chocolate, Lurpak butter. Really good ingredients. And every single person that has tried my cookies, baby, they've all said that it's the best cookie they've ever had. Crunchy on the outside, but like moist and gooey on the inside.
Fuck yeah. That's what I
Yeah,
need.
they're really good. I still bake them probably about 2 or 3 times a year.
And we definitely covered just your like health journey as well. I mean, you were very skinny at one point, and you've gained
Yeah,
some really healthy weight, and it looks like you
yeah.
go on your daily walks.
You inspired me to go on daily walks, by the way. I love walking, don't get me wrong, but you inspired me to like go on actual long walks. And every day, without fail, sometimes before my stream, sometimes after my stream, I'll go for at least half an hour to a 1 hour and a half walk
That's fucking awesome. It's
every single
so
day.
good. It's so good for your health in general,
Every single day.
physical
Yep.
and mental.
Yeah, and it's not even a strain on the body either, like running is. Running kind of like fucks up the joints if you do it a lot, but
Hmm.
walking is just a nice, gentle exercise, you know, keeps the body awake. But yeah, apart from that, I don't really lift weights at the moment. No reason really, just haven't really found the motivation. But I would go for my walks every single day. I make sure that I eat a couple of healthy meals a day. I get fruit and veggies in. I take my multivitamins. I stretch every day. I use my foam roller on my back. Um, what else? And that's about it.
Explain
That's about
explain
it.
the foam roller.
Oh, so obviously, I'm sitting on a Herman Miller right now. Great chair, ergonomic chair, beautiful for posture. But sitting down, period, no matter what you're sitting down on, as a streamer for like 5, 6 hours a day is terrible for the body, completely terrible. So now I've been using a foam roller to really get rid of the knots in my upper back, and boy, has it done wonders. Oh my God. So
So
ever since I got, sorry.
no. So like, do you just like put it on the floor? And because I've never used one of these, you put it on the
Yeah.
floor and then you just rub, like just go up and down kind of with
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. You just rest your body weight on it and just roll up and down on it. And it's absolutely incredible. It's like getting a free massage. It
Holy
cost me
shit.
like £15 off of Amazon. It's absolutely insane. And I use that probably 2 or 3 times a week. And ever since I got it, I think I got it about 3 months ago, I've never had neck cramp, upper back cramp while I've streamed.
Damn.
Gone completely.
That's pretty fucking nice. I bet some viewers might have some back issues. You might want to be looking at the
Yeah.
foam roller. It sounds fun
Yeah,
too. Sounds nice.
absolutely. Yeah, it's so good. You can do a lot with the foam roller, baby. It's not just for the upper back. Any muscle you want really in your body. Get rid of all of the knots.
What's really important too, you mentioned stretching. I
Yeah.
think it took me until I was 26 years old to be fair, when you're younger, stretching's still important, but the older you get,
Yeah.
oh my God, if you're not
Oh yeah.
stretching, you are just asking for injuries. Like just even the
Yeah.
most minor of injuries, just a strain on your calf or anything.
I'm
Like, oh my God, it's the worst.
I'm 33 years old right now. I'm not that much of a spring chicken anymore. I need to stretch. If I don't, I'm in agony. It's just the way it is now.
Yeah.
It's like my body is accustomed to it now. Full body stretches nearly every single day.
Yep. So
And
vital.
And also, you did mention body weight.
Hmm.
Yeah, in my no life in days when I was top page, I was weighing about 108 pounds, and now I weigh 160 pounds, and I'm 5'6". So I'm actually pretty damn healthy and filled out for my height now. Thankfully, I've been 160 for a while now. I don't know if you guys use pounds over there or
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
160. Yeah, no,
160.
that's a really healthy weight.
Yeah, one
What
165'6".
So, what has that done to your mental just being at a healthy weight, like in comparison?
Just feel like I have more life in me now. Before I look like an absolute corpse, but being this weight, I just feel like my soul has more spring to it now. I have more energy. I don't feel lifeless. I'm able to get so much stuff done throughout the day. Motivated to go out for my walks. It's affected everything. Weight is so important for you. Being the right weight.
And how's the? I'm just asking all about that. I'm always just curious of how
Yeah.
rig is in real life. How's the apartment? Because I noticed you've been living there for a couple years now.
Yeah, I've been living here for about, hold on. My God, it's been 3 years. No, wait, 2 years now. I moved here 2022.
Mm.
Just over 2 years. Loving it. Absolutely loving it. I mean, I don't drive a car. And to be honest, I don't really see any reason for me to drive a car because I'm an introvert. I'm indoors all of the time. I don't pay, so I'm not paying road tax or car insurance for no reason whatsoever.
Hmm.
And where I live, it's even more reason to not have a car, and let alone what I do for a living. I work at home, but I live right next to a giant Tesco.
What's
I don't
that?
know if you. Oh, sorry. So Tesco is basically like a Walmart. I
Okay.
live right next to one, and it's
Hell
and it's
yeah.
a giant super Walmart, I guess. And I literally walk out of my apartment complex, and within 30 seconds, I'm right there. And it's open from 6 a.m. till midnight every day. So I have
The dream.
anything I want right at my doorstep.
And you
It
also
is
have
such.
Amazon.com, which is fucking
Yep.
busted.
Yeah, yeah. So I have everything I need right around here. If I want to go into town to meet some friends, which is like twice a week, we go
Hmm.
meet up for a coffee. I get a bus, and the buses are every 10 minutes where I live, and it's like a 20-minute bus ride into town. Oh yeah, I live in a great, great, great spot.
Do you bike at
I'm on the
all?
No, no, I don't. I live on the top floor too, so I feel nice and safe. Third floor up, and outside of my windows, I'm facing west, so I get beautiful sunsets. Absolutely gorgeous sunsets. I get golden hour every day, twice a day, of course. It's so nice. Sorry, once a day because I face west. I get the most beautiful sunsets.
That's amazing. I get the sunrise, which is so nice. I don't know if you ever
Yeah.
watch any of my rambles, but if I record super early in the morning, you could see the rays of sunshine like peering through the
Oh
blinds.
man.
It's so nice. And the best part is like it actually gets pretty hot around this time of year for the next 4
Rays of
months.
gold.
And what the nicest thing about it is, even though I love sunsets, here if you get the sunset, I mean it'll just be beating heat into your apartment. And
Mhm.
so for me, I don't get the sunset, but I have a balcony that's facing the opposite end, so I get all the cool air while the sun's beating
Yeah.
just completely on the opposite side. So it's like phenomenal, and I get to see the bike path and the river. It's fucking great.
Don't you, don't you think sunsets and sunrises are completely hypnotizing?
it
Oh
it
my God.
it literally captures, like if you are obsessed with like whatever's happening internally, like your internal monologue or your idea of the world, and you're in a negative headspace or something, like you just take a look at a fucking sunrise or a sunset or
Yeah.
just nature, and you're like, okay, like all my problems seem to wash away. That
Yeah.
has helped me so much in my life, is
You
just
know,
being outside. And
I think for people like you and me, we're gamers. We game a lot. We're on the computer a lot. And when things like that happen in real life, the beautiful sunsets and sunrises, I think they hit us much harder.
they do.
Yeah. Sorry, you asked me about a bike. What was
Yeah.
that? Sorry.
No, I'm just curious because I actually bike a lot. I bike and walk, and
No.
I got a really nice. And I never really used to bike that much, but
Yeah.
last summer, I got a bike, and I have absolutely loved it. It's been so great. It's probably a little different for you because I think where you live it rains a lot more.
Well, it's that, but where I live, Nottingham, it's in Nottingham. That's where I live. It's
Hmm.
extremely hilly. There's hills
I
everywhere, so
would
it's just
actually
a
love
massive.
that personally. I
It's
love
just a
biking up the
massive
hills.
pain in the ass for me,
Yeah.
bro. And on top of that, I don't have anywhere to put a bike, sadly.
I see. I see. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I live on the second floor of my apartment complex. I just carry my bike up, but my bike is light as a feather. It's
Is it a bicycle?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
yeah, just a normal
Is it
bicycle.
like is it a road bike?
Yeah, yep,
Yeah,
road
yeah.
bike,
They fly, don't they? Oh my
dude.
God, they go so fast.
I can carry it with one hand up the
Yeah,
stairs, and it's
yeah.
just
That
it's light as a feather, and I can bike everywhere. And I live in Eugene, Oregon, which is like the bike city of Oregon. I mean, there's just trails everywhere that are
is it very
nicely
flat where
paved.
you live?
Yeah, very flat. There
Yeah,
are a few places where there's hills, but
yeah.
if you're in the city, it's pretty flat. And there's a lot of like they've designed the roads downtown to actually have specific bike lanes. I mean, I'm talking
That's
like
excellent.
full on like 12 feet across bike lanes on like in downtown. It's amazing.
I think that's great, man. I'm not really an environmentalist by any stretch of the
Mm.
imagination, but if if people have great excuses to get a bike instead of a car, then I'm all for it, man. Less pollution, more exercise. I'm all for it. It's great.
Yeah, I know. Honestly,
Mm.
so I don't know what it's like there. I've never lived, or I've never even been across the Atlantic Ocean, honestly. But
Yeah.
here, you're basically expected to have a car, and I don't own a car. So
Yeah.
I'm with you. And it feels, luckily, I'm in Eugene where it's a little bit different than most places. But man, I mean, you are just basically, you need to have a car, it seems like here. And
Yeah.
I wish we lived more in, I don't know. I just wish public transportation was more common around here. It is
Oh, it's huge
relatively common
here.
in Eugene, but in most
Yeah.
places in the United States, it's like if you don't have a car, you're not getting fucking anywhere. Like you're just
Oh
not.
no, here in the UK, public transportation is absolutely insane. I can, right outside of my apartment, a bus comes every 10 minutes to the city centre. Every 10 minutes. Yeah, it's crazy. And the buses are quite clean. Nottingham's known for its really clean and great public transportation, but no, people like you and me, baby, we have a lot less incentive to have cars, especially if we live next to a town or a city or in a city or a town. Content creators, at the end of the day, our work's at home. Think about all of the other streamers and YouTubers. A lot of them don't have cars either.
Yeah,
A lot of them don't drive.
there've definitely been. I mean, I could definitely get a car soon-ish. At this point, it
Yeah.
really is a matter of there's something in the back of my mind that kind of wants to move out of Oregon just because of the outrageous prices and go somewhere else. But I still love
Yeah.
Oregon, and I'm kind of waiting to see where I really settle before I start getting like a car and other things. But I do occasionally wish I had a vehicle to just go somewhere far away when I feel like
Yes.
it, because that
Yeah,
that seems to affect my mental a little bit when I feel almost kind of trapped. Like I could go
yeah.
somewhere, but there's so many hurdles to get somewhere, and I'd probably have to, get an Uber or something. Where
No,
if
no,
I
I
had a
definitely
car,
understand that.
yeah, and I live
The car.
and
Sorry,
and
go on.
and I live pretty close to the coast, which is like an hour away, and it would be so nice to be able to go there like whenever I wanted.
Yeah, a car does that. A car gives you the ultimate freedom. I can't, disagree with that. And especially if you could just freely go to the seaside. I believe that being by the seaside is very healing for one. The sound of the ocean and the smell of the sea air, I think it does wonders for the body.
Yep.
Also, being able to walk on sand or run on sand, that's a great workout.
Yep. It's so nice. Oregon coasts are a little bit grosser than like the Californian coasts.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like seaweed and dead shit
Yeah.
on the shoreline at some parts, but there's a lot of nice like dunes and stuff. It's always freezing over there, but it's still really
I,
beautiful.
I'd be able to admire the ocean, but I have something called thalassophobia, and I've had it since I was a young child, so I'd never be able to go into the ocean.
So what is that, a fear of the sea?
Yeah, I have two major fears. One is arachnophobia. I've always been afraid of spiders, like actually petrified of them, if they're like a certain size. And thalassophobia is my second phobia that I have, and that is the fear of open water or just water in general that could hold life in it.
Oh, okay. So
Oh,
is it the fear of drowning kind of, or just fear of like what's in
no,
there?
the fear of the unknown.
Ooh.
And the ocean has a lot of unknown. We've only explored like 4% of the ocean, really.
I actually
And
remember you were watching some documentaries on your stream of that. So you're still fascinated watching it.
oh
You're,
yeah, it's
you're
one
not
of my biggest interests. It's
okay,
probably
but
the reason why I have thalassophobia because I know so much about what's in the ocean. It's kind of horrific, man.
was there any trauma like in early childhood that caused that, or was this simply just knowing more about it is just terrifying?
No, just lots of YouTube videos.
Okay, interesting.
Yep, that's what caused the trauma, I
I
guess.
I don't know if I have any real. I'm definitely. This is gonna sound weird, but like I used to be really fucking terrified of bees and spiders,
Mm. Yeah,
and
not anymore.
no, well, I'm still terrified if there's a massive spider. Like I'll kind of jump, but I'm not gonna be terrified. Mainly because I think I've learned that the spiders, at least where I live, are friendly. Like they're not going to hurt you. They are actually,
Sure.
even if so, I've actually had I've had this one spider in the corner of my apartment. It literally built a little teeny web that's invisible, and it just chills, and it's grown over like the past like 3 weeks to
Yeah.
a relatively good size. But what it does is whenever there's like a fruit fly or anything, it
Captures it.
somehow the fruit fly is attracted over there. It gets caught in the web, and the spider eats it. And
Yeah.
the spider has done me no harm whatsoever. And what I was gonna get to is, I don't know if I had mentioned it. Like I had my spell of mushroom usage, and one of the things that when you take mushrooms, what it does is it kind of like it kind of opens your mind and your heart to like loving all the creatures on Earth.
That's really pretty.
It's a really strange and cathartic feeling that you can feel. And I had this moment. This is probably a year and a half ago or so. I was mildly tripping, and there was a wasp in my apartment in the
Okay,
kitchen.
flying around.
No, it was in the kitchen sink. It startled me because
Oh,
it was just like right next to the drain of the sink, and for some reason I was just in this state of mind where I was like, this thing's not going to hurt me, and I literally grabbed it. Like I put my hand down, and it crawled onto my hand, a fucking wasp in my house. And I just
yeah.
looked at it really, really close, and I went all the way downstairs and let it free outside. I would have never in a million fucking years done that, ever. Like,
Yeah.
no way. I would have been just terrified. I would have stepped away, tried to grab a shoe or something and just just squish it.
Of course. The thing is, though, we have to be real. Not all wasps are not going to sting you. Some will
It's
sting
true.
you.
Amen. Like it was kind of risky, but
You know?
I feel like it knew it was a weird like exchange. I felt like
know what you
it
mean.
knew it wasn't going to hurt me, and I knew it was.
It could probably feel your energy, but some
Yeah.
wasps don't give a fuck about your energy. They just want to fuck you up.
No, wasps are fucking terrifying, but it's the same.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with spiders now. Like if I'm in, sometimes I can even just through meditation, just knowing like this thing's really not going to hurt me. This thing is not out to kill me. Like this
Yeah.
thing is just chilling. It has no idea who I am. What its brain is so tiny. I don't know what the
It's
hell it's
just
feeling.
doing its own thing.
Yeah.
But for me, it's just the sheer look of them. I'll tell you something though, baby. One of my friends, who is a proper English lad, doesn't give a crap about anything, sees a spider on the wall, picks it up, throws it out the window. He's done that for years. Pick a spider up, throw it out the window, until one day he picked up the wrong spider.
Oh no.
And it bit him on the palm of his hand. And it was just the wrong spider. And it unfortunately caused necrosis in the palm of his hand. Now he has like a weird like hole, not all the way through his hand, but like a crater in the palm of his hand. And that's there forever.
Oh my god.
It just makes me even more scared of them, bro. You know, what if I was laying in bed and one of them crawled into bed and started buying me up or something? Some spiders are pretty nasty, man.
Yeah, no, you're right. And there's some locations, I don't know what it's like where you live, but here in Oregon, at least the
Yeah.
research I've done, there are so few dangerous spiders where I live.
Yeah.
And it would be very rare to encounter one that's actually going to be a mess to like your nervous system or anything. So,
Yeah, of course.
yeah.
It's just the sheer look of them, though, bro. I don't
You're
like
right.
the look of them. I think they look very unearthly.
They're fucking terrifying. You're right.
Yeah.
You're a huge Lord of the Rings fan. What about the is it the third movie where Frodo goes into that fucking spider lair?
No, Shelob. So it's pretty strange, actually. Spiders in movies and spiders in video games, I don't give an absolute crap about. It's just in the physical, in the real life. But my second phobia, thalassophobia, that triggers from video games. If I'm in like water in World of Warcraft or something, I don't like it one bit.
Water really does suck in video games. I feel like they never do it right either. Did you ever play Crash Bandicoot?
No,
Dude,
no.
they had these water levels in the third Crash, and
Yeah.
even as a child, I just despise those levels. It's just dark environment. You can't move quickly. Oh my god,
I
it's the
don't mind
worst.
being above the surface of water if I'm in video games, but if I
No,
dive
it's just
down and I see
underwater, yeah.
yeah, it's underwater basically. If I dive down and I see no no bottom, just darkness, that scares the living crap out of me. The ocean's very deep, baby.
Yes,
Very,
it is.
very deep and
Yes, it
vast.
is.
I'm talking the Pacific Ocean. the average depth of that ocean is something stupid like 14,000 feet.
Jesus.
Insanely deep.
Dude.
Sunlight stops penetrating the ocean at 1,000 meters. And the deepest part of the ocean is something like 9,000 meters, 8,000 meters. That's beyond darkness. So it's a very mysterious place. It's the last frontier on Earth. And there's things down there that are swimming around that we have no idea about. There's so much to discover. That scares the crap out of me, but it also fascinates me. That's why it's one of my big interests, because I'm so scared of it. I love deep sea exploration.
Dude, octopuses, those things are
They
wild.
freak you out? What about squids?
They don't. Squids are scarier. Octopuses don't scare me. They fascinate me, and I think
Very intelligent.
They are. They really
Very
are intelligent, and they're delicious. I actually had a canned octopus like a couple months ago. It's so good. It's so delicious.
That took a while to. No, they're so smart. They're very delicious too.
They actually really are delicious. I'm a huge fan of octopus.
I've actually only ever tried octopus once, but maybe it was a bad octopus. I was having sushi with Ginger Beardy a long time ago, and I actually had octopus sushi, and it was just chewy rubber to me. But maybe it's because it wasn't cooked.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, just raw. Oh yeah, 'cause it's in sushi. Interesting.
Yeah, pretty much. I didn't like that one bit. Yeah. Yeah, imagine if it was cooked, it'd be pretty tender.
It's really good. It's got really nice texture. I'm a huge seafood person though.
Oh, same here. Yeah. Same here. I love sushi if it's not fucking octopus. I love sushi. I love fried fish. Big fan. I love it.
Yeah.
I like calamari too. Do you like calamari?
I don't know if I've ever had calamari. I think I may have had it once, but I could not remember.
I remember the first time I tried calamari, it was with Boaty when we were much younger. It was around the year 2017. I was only streaming for like a year or so. I was in his Team Connection Lost. And I remember he came to Nottingham one time to visit his uni friends, and he thought he would hang out with me for a quick 2 hours. And we went to this restaurant, and we had for starter calamari rings, and I'd never tried it before. And it was basically a ring of squid covered in batter, and you dip it in this herb butter sauce, and it was absolutely amazing. It was so good. So I highly recommend you trying calamari, aka squid, sometime. It's really good, man.
I'm going to Orlando next week with the based crew, and we had a 1 Michelin star restaurant experience that we were gonna have, but something got canceled, so we're going to this other like really, really nice place instead. I don't think it's a Michelin star, but I think that there's also a smaller group going to, I believe, a 2 or 3 star Michelin place there, and I didn't say I wanted to go, so I'm most likely not going, but at some point in my life I need to try a Michelin star restaurant.
I've never been to one.
I know, me neither. And I've heard fascinating, just amazing things about them, and that it's like the best thing you'll ever try in everything you have, because they just send out so many plates of things.
Yeah, there's a special name for it, right? It's called gastronomy, right? That's the name for it, food that's like art on a plate. But I've never been to a Michelin star restaurant before, but pardon me, I'm going to one this year, and it's a meal before RuneFest. It's me, Tasty, T Papa, Boaty, loads of others. We're going to this restaurant in London, and it's called Frog. And it's a 1-star Michelin restaurant. Yeah, weird ass name, I know, but it looks really good, and I'm looking forward to it. We're all booked in now.
Yeah.
And, I can't wait.
That's amazing. I'm really excited for you. Yeah, no, I've had the opportunities. I've always declined just simply because in the moment, I'm always like, I don't want to spend $350 for this meal. But I always regret it. I always regret not going. I'm like, I should have just spent the money.
At the end of the day, I know it's like me coping and me trying to justify it, but at the end of the day, bro, I never go out. I don't go to clubs. I don't live a very hectic lifestyle. I keep myself to myself. So there's no harm in me trying out a Michelin star restaurant this year, especially since this year has been so good to me. Got my infernal cape. My community's really looked after me. I've had a bit of a rough time with my nan's dementia, so I owe it to myself to go out to this Michelin star restaurant. The good thing about me is that I don't drink alcohol, and what really stings you at Michelin star restaurants is the wine.
Oh yeah, that
The
just
wine,
triples the
yeah.
price.
Yeah, pretty much. So I'm gonna be there paying like 180 pound for my 10-course meal, and I'll have a pineapple juice on the side, which will probably cost me £6 at a place like that, and
Yeah.
that will do me.
you're gonna you're with Tasty and everybody else. It's gonna be,
Yeah.
and you mentioned T Papa
Oh,
too. Jesus Christ, if you are not just plastered there with everybody else, you're gonna really see what they're like. And yeah, I
you,
don't know. I
you
hope
know
I hope you
what?
have a great time though.
I've seen Tasty drink a lot and Boaty and everybody, and you know what? I don't think they really change all that much when they drink alcohol. I don't know, mate. I don't know. I've seen Tasty kind of hammered at Paris, bro,
Oh
and he
yeah,
was
you
still
got to
pretty
meet
chill.
like in person, and you had
I've
the whole
seen it.
day out
Yeah, I
with him, right?
have.
That was great.
Not, bro. I was in the same hotel with him. We hung out for like 6 days
Oh
straight.
fuck! I thought it was just like a
Uh,
day
no.
excursion.
I've
Wow,
spent a lot of time with Tasty. We were in the same hotel. We were actually neighbors in the hotel. No,
that's awesome.
I've spent a lot of time with Tasty, bro. You know, that's my fucking boy. I love him to pieces. And I don't know, maybe it's because when people are around me, they just want to be a little bit more sensible because I don't drink.
Mm,
But he was a pretty calm drunk when I was with him, man.
that's good. Yeah, I think
Maybe the Americans bring out the party side of him. You know
I
what I
think
mean?
I think it's yeah. It depends on it depends on the crew. Like if there's a lot of people, if there's like a 10-person table and you're all having a good
Yeah.
time, it'll get pretty loud and hectic. It would be hard because I get in my head like if I'm around people that are drinking and I'm not drinking, I get in my head. I'm like I want to be more kind of
What do you mean?
energetic and have fun, but I get in my head because everyone is so loosely just fun and
Yeah.
energetic, and I'm just sitting there like shit. I need to be more bouncy, but I don't have the alcohol in me,
Ah,
so I'm just
no. When I'm obviously I don't drink alcohol, bro, and when I'm at parties, I never think like that. You know, I am who I am. I'm a teetotal person. Pretty much everybody in the community knows that I don't drink, so I never really feel pressured or whatever to drink. I just chill and I go with the vibe. And normally it's a great time when I go to parties. Even when I'm around drunk people, it's normally like streamers and whatnot who I'm familiar with, so I'm always comfortable.
that's good. What do you think? So this happened back in February. There was a huge move over to Kick,
Yeah.
and I remember popping in your stream, and there was this because you had been invited to go over to Kick, correct?
Yeah. I got a few offers.
Yeah, I think most people did. I was included in that. Got a
Yeah.
couple offers, and at the time, and I think I even recall you saying you weren't even sure if anybody was really going over there because it's not like they were saying here's all the people going over. But then there was this mass exodus over to the
That's
platform,
right.
and
Yeah.
I think those contracts are going to be ending very soon. Who knows how many are going to be renewed? But what are your thoughts on Kick and the whole
Uh,
move over there for so many creators?
it's kind of complex, man, but everyone's got their own reasons why they'd move over to Kick. Some people really need that paycheck. I mean, man, I'm living on my own. You know, I don't have anyone helping me with bills. I'm taking on life all by myself. The one-time payment or whatever Kick was gonna do for me, it would have been real nice. But at the end of the day, I was thinking about the future instead of now, baby. Sure, I could have took a nice paycheck and gone over to Kick and started streaming there, but what if it damaged my career? Because I was always going to come back to Twitch.
Hmm.
I always was. That's where I've built all of my following. 75,000 followers nearly over the space of 8 years, and a lovely little loyal community. What if I damage that? I was thinking long term,
Yep.
and if I moved to Kick, sure, I would have got a nice paycheck or whatever, but I wouldn't have the viewership that I would have had on Twitch. I wouldn't have had the same people watching me as I do on Twitch, the same established community that know where to go when I click the live button. And I don't know, I just feel like it'd be in an alien world over there, and I really need to be in my comfort zone when I stream. So I chose happiness and uncertainty of the future over a one-time paycheck, baby.
Yep. That's how I was feeling. I feel like that's
Yeah,
how a lot of people are feeling. There is, luckily, with those contracts, and I've seen. I think somebody that comes to mind is like Prison Joe. He
Yeah.
took the bag, and he's been wildly successful over on Kick. And on top of that, it's not like he's lost his Twitch audience. He goes live for an hour or two every day on
That's right.
Twitch. And I think that's something that I hadn't really
It's
considered, is the fact that you're still giving your appearance on Twitch beforehand.
Yeah, we have to understand too. I've been looking at the success of loads of streamers and say no name, and for some people it's working out well. For some people it's working out terrible.
Yeah, yep.
Terrible.
Yeah,
So
it's not. Yeah, it really is just clock in basically to guarantee
yeah,
your paycheck, but ultimately,
the transition is not working for some streamers, but that's to be expected, right? You
I
win
know.
some and you lose some.
I know. And I actually saw myself as if I were to have taken that. First of all, there's a lot more going behind the scenes. I've been on
Sure.
my burnt spell for God knows how long at this point, where I'll feel motivated to play for a little bit, and then it's just,
Yeah.
and things are actually going to be changed. I'm actually going to be starting a group, Hardcore Ironman, here shortly with
Brilliant.
some creators. But at the time, moving over to Kick would have just been like a kick to the balls, like even more. But I'm already struggling to create great content, and if I were to go over there, it'd just be like, all right, I'm plummeting to
You are kind of
zero.
at that stage on the Ironman where really, why is there left to do? You've achieved all of the iconic goals. I'd probably be feeling the same because my goal is to get this everything, and then after that, maybe I will try and focus on GM and blowover. Avenger, that's a long, long time away though. I'm at a very nice stage of my Ironman where I need to get all of the stuff, and that's going to take me a very long time. But if I was at your stage, I'd be thinking, fuck, what do I do next? I don't really care about pets. I never have done. Pets are nice, but I don't give a crap where I'd make it my primary content. Pets do shit all, man. Never been a fan of them. Clogging's kind of boring as fuck to stream. That's boring, man. PVM's where it's at. So if I was at your stage, baby, I'd probably be doing that, man. I'd probably fucking re-roll on another Iron Man. When Rice Cup did the same. He's started an ultimate now.
No, I was very set on really dedicating myself to this account, but ultimately you're totally right. I mean, you get to a point where every single one of my goals that I'd actually want to do, like one of the things I want to get is an Ellie. That is
Yeah.
one of the final items that's just massive, big ticket, and I'm beyond rate at this point for it.
And isn't it kind of a niche-ish item now?
Oh yeah, it's super niche, but it's still
Yeah.
iconic. If you get an
No,
Ellie on an
it's still
Iron Man,
kick-ass.
it's amazing. But
Yeah, it's still a flex.
I'm a few hundred KC past the drop rate of it now, and I'm just thinking, just to make an analogy of the deep ocean where you can't even see the bottom. I don't know how many fucking
Yeah.
corp kills I would need to do, because there was an Iron Man that went 20,000 dry for one.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Four
like-
times the drop rate, 5 times or whatever.
Yeah,
My
that's
god.
about 5 times rate, and like that can happen. It's not likely, but it could still happen. And just the fact that I would waste. I mean, I've been wasting time all this time. But like, if I were to spend.
I don't know.
If I were to fulfillingly spend my time, for the next 2 years grinding. Well, first of all, I couldn't. I don't have the mental for it, and that's really the reason why I think I do need a refresher. It's been something I've considered. I'm like, I've always been a fan of having all progress on one account, but ultimately, I think it is time for a change, and I think it'll be like a really good thing for my content career.
I think it's a golden idea. At the end of the day, bro, you do reach a certain point as a content creator where you've gotten most of the drops, and the drops that are left to get don't really have the oomph that the prior drops had.
I know. You know what, as well? This is going to sound crazy, but every third age piece, so I have 5 third age pieces. Every single one I got motivated me more than ever to go for another one. Until the plate legs, until I got the third piece of the melee set, because it almost feels like at this point it's super diminishing returns.
Yeah.
Like I could actually spend, I'm not even kidding when I say this, like 3,000 hours just to get another piece of third age. That is a realistic thing. And to know that it could be a dupe, or to know that it could just be a piece that just is irrelevant, is so depressing. And it's just like, I need to just be satisfied with where I'm at. I don't know. It's just every single time I was more motivated, but now I've actually hit like this burnt spell of like, I don't even want to do any more clues. I do, but like, it's just, oh my gosh, the gravity of the situation to actually go for another piece is just like daunting.
You've probably reached that point on your Iron Man where you're like, is this it?
It feels like that, man.
This is
I
it.
hate to admit it too,
You're
because
GM and you've got all of this, you've got all of the best pieces now. What's there left to do? There's so much left to do. Don't get me wrong, but it's just not got the oomph to it. Like
you're right.
acquiring Blore and your first Infernal Cape,
You're totally
and so
right.
on and so on. All the best pieces one by one. You've done it all.
And I've
You've
never
done it
made
all.
a group account. And
Yeah,
if there's a team, which I'm not going to leak the team, but
yeah,
maybe I'll tell you off stream. Maybe
sure.
I'll tell you after the call. But there, that sounds super exciting, because one of the other things, and I don't know if you've ever felt this way as a content creator, I feel like
Yeah,
everybody kind of has their own little idea of what they would really like to do with content creation. I felt like I've always been in this, at least for the past couple years, I've felt like I'm not really hitting that sweet spot of truly enjoying myself going live. Like
yeah,
truly
sure.
feeling loose and free and having a great time. It always feels like there's a little bit of stress to it.
There's nothing bad about that either. Every content creator has that, where they're like, "Well, fuck, what do I do now?" And everybody has a low point.
But
Periodically, it happens too. It's totally fine.
there was, when I first started creation on Twitch, I wasn't making a dime, and I loved going live. There was
Yeah,
times where I just loved it. It was so much fun. I wanted to go live. I craved it, and I missed that. And that's really what
yeah.
I want to relive. And so for me, I'm like, you know what? Something that could be so fun is knowing that every day for the next several months, I get to talk with the boys on a Discord call and
Yep.
play a fucking casual group account that is gonna
A
just be a
hardcore group.
blast. Yeah, hardcore group. That's
And at the end of the day, we've seen it time and time again, baby. When people make hardcore groups, it always goes really well.
I know. They're so much
Really
fun
well.
too. They're so fun.
Yeah. The viewers love it.
Yeah, I'm very much excited, and it'll be the first time for me where I'm not playing this account, Sae Bae. First time
Yeah.
ever.
Nothing, it's okay. You can still play that on the side or whatever, but every dog has its day at the end of the day,
Yeah.
bro. And I think you've achieved all of the iconic things that you've had to achieve on that account, man. I think that's a beautiful idea to start a group hardcore Iron Man. New chapter for now, right?
Yep. That's how I feel.
I'll tell you what though, I think I'm at a stage of my Iron Man where a lot of people would kill to be there again. I've got to get everything basically.
It's a
I
f-
need
it's an
everything.
it's an exciting part of the game where you're at. I mean,
All,
right
all I
after
have
Infernal Cape.
All I have is Infernal Cape and Bofa, really. That's all, and a DHL. That's all I have. That's like somewhat pretty nice.
And now you get to
That's
do
it.
everything with your new Infernal Cape, which is so
Yeah.
sexy.
With that on my back, yeah. Got to
Yeah.
get all of the raid pieces and I don't know, whatever the fuck else. I've got to do everything, and that's going to take a long, long time. So I'm set for a while, man. I'm really happy.
Okay, explain this to me, because you and Hey Jace have the same logic with this, and fair play to both of you.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I do have a slight sentiment where I agree with you partially on this, but you like the classic Infernal Cape over the Max. Is there a legitimate reason, a logical reason for that, or is it purely just you just like the look more?
Yeah. So, yeah, Jace has always rocked the regular Infernal Cape, hasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
It's just because I'm kind of a fan of unique models, and just seeing recolored max capes over and over again is just starting to look a little bit boring and tacky, in my opinion. That's it, really. That's all it boils down to, really, baby.
Yeah,
That's it.
no,
I just like unique models.
yeah, I think I said this in the chat as well the other day when I was watching your stream, but just I had my whole 18 months or so with my original Infernal Cape, but upgrading to that, what I considered an upgrade, was getting that maxing in general was just such a big deal for me. So
The Max Infernal Cape is technically an upgrade because it's lighter than the Infernal Cape.
oh yeah, isn't it like a kilogram lighter or something?
It is, yeah, it is. But I was like 30th to max. I've stayed at a max cape for a long, long time, a long time. I just also like that with the irregular Infernal Cape. There's just much more of animation. It's not
Yeah,
teared
it
up by
shows
the
the
max
whole thing.
cape.
You're totally right.
Yeah, it just has more of a pop to it. So I'm my word is pretty golden, bro. I will always rock a regular infernal max cape.
Okay, on this same topic, I need to ask you about your personal thoughts with Torva.
Yeah.
Do you like the look of Torva, especially in relation to Bandos?
Right. So I've never once owned Torva. You know, when I started my Ironman, that was before Torva was even released on my main, my main with 200 mils. There was no Torva then. Back in the day when I played RuneScape during the golden era from 2003 to 2007, there was no Torva. So I've yet to even obtain it for the first time ever. But what's my opinions on it? I actually love it, bro. I actually love regular Torva. I like Blood Torva, but I love regular too. And I cannot wait to get the full set to have it with the Infernal Cape. Love it. Big fan. I'm a big fan of both versions. I know that Torva got remodeled, right?
Hmm.
And a lot of people are pissed about it. I like both.
Yeah, you know what's funny is I spent maybe 1 day with full Torva before I
Yeah.
ended up upgrading to Blood Torva because I spent like 2 years with two pieces of Torva, the helmet and the legs. So I was
Yeah.
rocking a BCP with it, just fucking disgusting, abominable
Yeah.
actually. And I finally got the Torva plate body, and I got to rock that for 1 day, and I actually loved the look. And then I upgraded to Blood Torva, and I actually like the look, I think, of normal Torva more, just simply because I didn't even get to enjoy it.
Yeah,
You know,
I love both. I actually adore both. The Blood Tova and regular Tova are by far one of my favorite looking armor sets in the game, by far. Blood Tova reminds me of Daedric from Skyrim. If you've ever
no, I
no,
my brother was
but
obsessed with Skyrim. I never actually got into it, unfortunately.
well, yeah, there's an armor set in Skyrim,
Okay.
and it's one of the best armors in the game, and it's the same color theme as Blood Tova. It's like a blacky charcoal gray with trims of like glowing red, and I'm pretty sure Blood Tova was inspired by Daedric.
Mm,
But I think out of both, I do like Blood Tova that little bit more. I like black and red.
mm.
I love the color combination.
With the Infernal
But I
Cape,
do.
it's amazing too.
With the Inferno Cape. Oh my god, both versions of Torva with the Inferno Cape look so boss. Oh my god. Just them big beefy stats, the prey bonus and the strength bonus and the defense bonus. Oh man, PVM orgasm, man. My god.
Yeah.
I will say one thing though. I don't see myself being able to get Blood Torva anytime soon because um I am flat out, no exceptions, one account only. Period.
Yep.
And that means that it would be incredibly challenging for me to get Blood Tova on this Iron Man. My
I
main is long gone. It has no gear, and I do not wish to play it ever. And I do not lend items, period, of anybody. So that's in the dust.
One of the I will say one of the nice things about the Blood Torva grind is the awakened versions are very similar. They're just cranked up to 11 basically, but they're the same mechanics ultimately
Yeah,
as their counterpart as their original counterparts. So when
yeah,
if you were to go for all of the rings from all four bosses and spend that significant amount of time killing up to 1,000, or maybe even beyond of each of those bosses, you are going to feel very confident with all your stack of awakened orbs, and
sure.
you're going to feel very confident at the thing. You'll still, inevitably you're going to die a bunch because we all have to die a bunch at the awakened,
That's
but
right.
that practice you get is very essential. So I think there will come a time as soon as you get those rings, you're going to feel way more confident than you probably feel now.
Sure. Yeah, but for the time being, when I hopefully get it this year, I think I'll be content with my normal Blover for a while.
Yeah.
Normal Blover, sorry.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Because I just love the look of it. And I'm not really an insecure player now that I have the Infernal Cape. I just think the Infernal Cape really gets rid of some insecurities that one might have. I have a lot left to improve upon, but the Infernal Cape gives me a lot of contentness. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
There's not much that people can bully me for now. Sure, I've got to get Blood Torva. Sure, I've got to get GM, but Jesus Christ, that's for the very best of the best. I've got to improve a lot.
Okay. Here's a question because you have no raids items really that I know
Nope.
besides the prayer scrolls, correct?
I went incredibly dry at Chambers of Zerek. I have 220 KC there, 3+4, and all I have is the prayer scrolls.
Damn. How many
Yeah,
of each?
one
Of each?
of each.
At
Yeah.
least you didn't get like 6 arcanes before the dex or some bullshit.
Yeah, I have some unbelievable bad luck there, man. It's very unforgiving. But in TOA, I actually have the Jewel of the Sun on my second KC.
Okay. Do you have the rune
Yeah.
pouch?
Yes, I got that on my first KC.
Oh, very nice. Okay, so let me ask you this. Which mega rare would you want most if you could have one right now?
The T-Bow. Even though I have both, I love the Inferno. It's my favorite piece of content, and I just love to smash Zuck with 88s and 87s or whatever it is.
It's a
I
good
just look so
feeling.
good, bro. I really would like the scythe because my melee weapons are rubbish, and I'd love to go for it one day. But no, if I could pick, it would be the T-Bow.
Yeah.
1,000,000%.
Bro,
So I will,
I'm so sorry to say this. I mean, this is years and years ago, but I got so lucky at Chambers. I actually went, 300 KC for my dex, but 20 KC T-Bow, and that changed the
my
course of my
God.
account forever. Literally
Yep.
first purple.
You just went from 0 to hero, basically.
Literally, dude. It's
Oh
crazy.
my God.
It's crazy how one item can actually transform the way you think about the game. Like literally
Yeah.
getting that T-Bow made me go for an infernal cape because I realized I could at that point.
I just love seeing singular fat numbers in RuneScape, and that's one of the reasons why I'm a little bit iffy with the scythe. I don't like how the hits are spread out into 4 different hits. Just looks a little bit messy to me, man. But the T-Bow, just a singular max hit blood splat 88. Oh my God, it looks so satisfying, man. I love my Bofa, but hitting like 40s and maybe 50s on task, it just doesn't have that oomph to it like 70s and 80s do.
Yeah, you're right. Oh my God.
You actually feel like you actually feel like you have a nuclear weapon with the T-Bow. I had a T-Bow back on my main, so I know what it's like. I know what I'm missing out on. But one day, probably when I've got a little bit better gear, I will make a T-Bow grind, like stay at Chambers till I get it.
That is so milkable. Do you remember the lake
Yeah.
grind like years and years ago where he went 3,400 for his T-Bow? Pretty much all
No,
solos.
I
Dude,
certainly don't.
I used to watch that man all the time when he was first going for that T-Bow. I mean, he was consistently polling
Incredible
600 to 900 viewers.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody wanted to be there for the T-Bow, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's such good milkable content, especially when you start enjoying it. Which I know your mindset just with CG, you fucking love that place, and you just didn't even
Yeah, I
care
like
if you went dry.
Chambers. Yeah, I like Chambers, man. I don't absolutely adore it. I don't mind it. It's all right. I can grind it, not a problem. But it's not my favorite content in the game. But Chambers is a place where I love to play with other players. Primarily, I'm a solo player. I like to do my own thing. But in raids, I love to get my viewers involved.
That's good. Yeah. Okay. Wow. Yeah. No, I'm excited, man. You got so much content to do. It's fucking awesome.
It's still a baby. The Iron Man's still a baby. Think about it. I spent most of my time on the Iron Man maxing. I wanted to max before I started PVM, so the PVM stuff is still very early, man. But I've got a nice Inferno cape on my back for the rest of my days.
Fucking nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go to the Twitter topics. We didn't get many, but obviously we have just plenty to talk about on our own terms.
Yeah,
so.
we only got like 9 questions. I'm so irrelevant. I get like 1,400 likes on my first Infernal Cape, 500 plus likes on my second Infernal Cape, but no one wants to ask me any questions.
That's my fault. I'm just not giving the tweet enough exposure. Obviously, that's my bad.
Twitter works in mysterious ways, but fire away, brother.
All right. Let's see. So this is actually a good question. We've kind of covered it a little bit, but one of the questions one of the parts of this question is relevant, which is Jads is asking, what are you most excited to grind on the Iron, and what are you dreading most?
Oh shit, that's a really good question. The thing I'm excited to grind most on the Iron Man, well, the cherry on the cake has already passed. It was the Infernal Cape, But now, the thing that I'm most excited to grind, it would probably be the T-bow, maybe, or obtaining Torva. The grind for Torva looks kind of ass, but obtaining Torva,
Dude,
I'm really excited for
bro.
that.
Next
Huh?
next drops feel orgasmic. They feel
Yeah.
so good.
I've heard that boss is really chill, baby, right? It's quite
It's
a brain dead boss, is it
it's
not?
chill if you get a very consistent team and you just go in there. My
Yeah.
personal enjoyment from it was doing one kill trips where you just build up a bunch of KC, go in there as a 3 or 4 man, and
Yeah.
just one kill trip. So you're using very little supplies and you're just having a good time that's really consistent.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll be able to find a great team. I mean, when I was doing chambers, I was constantly playing with Blood Torva players, bro. It's the benefits of being a streamer, so I'm pretty sure I'll be able to find some good players for next.
Yeah, but seeing that pink text, I don't know if you use the pink text or the beams for loot, do you?
I use the beams. I use the beams, but like big time rares are orange for me. It's the
Okay.
same color scheme as WoW.
Okay, yeah, no, it's just dude, that orange, because the orange for me is I think 1 mil to 10 mil, so
Yeah,
those still
okay.
look sexy, but the pink is 10 mil plus, and oh my god, dude, when you see a
It was
Torva piece on
amazing.
the, when I think when I saw my Nile horn for the ZCV, that
Oh
thing,
yeah, the attachment, right?
yeah, that thing looked so sexy on the ground.
I can't wait. I can't wait, bro. But yeah, I've got the beams. It's like a spiral type of thing, what I've
Yeah,
got mine on.
it's
Yeah.
great. It's great looking. I love that they've added so many, and even they've done so much to this game. Don't get me wrong, there is that classic feeling. I think Bodhi plays this way where he doesn't even have the ground item text on, so he
Yeah.
just sees the little teeny like sprite on the ground of what it is. If he's at Zulrah
The
and
way
gets a
it's meant to
bullfight.
be. No interruption, no animation on top of it, no writing. He just sees it and he knows what it is.
Yeah, there is something to that. Don't get me wrong, but I love that we've slightly modernized this game to the point where you get the collection log little
Oh yeah.
beam like popping up and the
Love
pink.
it. I love it.
Yeah,
I love it so much.
so
The,
obsessed.
a grind that I'm dreading though.
Yeah.
A grind that I'm dreading. I don't know, you know. I think I'm actually pretty content with all of the stuff I've got to do thus far. Content.
Would you
Yeah.
ever do the Void Waker grind?
In fact, I've actually got one piece of the Void Waker already.
Oh
But yeah,
shit.
I'll do that eventually. No, there is actually one thing I'm actually dreading eventually, and that is some GM tasks. Some of
Oh
them look
yeah,
ass,
they're so ass.
like 5k without using a single prayer point, etc.
Yeah,
That means I'd probably have to one tick whatever the fuck it is. I despise rhythm clicking. Despise it.
that's fair. Honestly, let me just on that task in particular, I one and done that, and I made it as chill as possible for myself, where I just hid
How?
behind, quote unquote Italy rock,
Yeah.
how Mr. Mammal coined it, and I would just stand in the very corner. And I think I just pretty much T-bowed most things, or I used my crossbow. You could just use a bofa. You got to kill those bats because you don't want to lose a prayer point from those. But as soon as those majors come, and you have to remember, I mean, especially after you've just done a bunch of Inferno, Fight Caves is a joke in
Yeah,
comparison. I mean,
it's always been a joke.
you can miss prayers entirely. You could literally miss flicks and you're good. Like the major can hit you off prayer and it'll just hit you a couple zeros sometimes. It's just like ridiculous. It's just
So what did you do? Did you just face tank the major a few times then?
I
How does
would
it work?
yeah, like I would literally just wait. I would bring my sweets in, so I had several hundred sweets with
Cheeky.
me, and just in case, and then I just load it up with brews and restores because you could still drink restores. You just can't lose any prayer points. So I would, every wave just chug a couple brews if I needed to, which most of the times I didn't, and I would just wait for the major to actually hit me, and then I
Oh
knew
yeah.
that I could just flick every 4 ticks on the mage prayer, and then if anything else is hitting me, it's not that big of a deal. But I safe spotted it with Italy Rock, and it actually, once I understood that this isn't actually that daunting, I just have to go through like 30 waves of majors where it can literally hit me off prayer occasionally, and I'll take maybe a 30. It was not a big deal at all.
Yeah, the T-bow would just melt everything.
Oh, if you
Yeah,
had
I
a
guess.
T-bow, it would just be so disgusting too.
Yeah, I guess I was thinking about going for not like tunnel vision in GM, but when I do get much better gear, because I am going to need some better gear, baby, my gear is still very raw,
Yeah.
then I'll start thinking about major combat tasks. But some of them look very daunting, so that's my answer to that question.
Yeah. Yeah. Another nice way to see, this is for some listeners as well, if you're going for GM, is go through the list at some point, which sounds horrendous, even just looking at the list because there's so fucking many tasks. But
Yeah.
look at the hardest one that you think would be the hardest. And if you can do that hardest task, then you can complete GM. Like if you can
Yeah.
do the very hardest task, it's just a matter of time. You just have to work toward it. You have to practice a little bit. The Inferno tasks for me were a bitch. I
Oh
hated
man,
them.
they look like a nightmare.
I
Like not
hated
letting the melee dig, not being able
it's
to drop
so,
below
yeah.
50 HP, melee only. They look a nightmare.
But
So
ultimately, you just have to take one at a time and just
yeah,
understand, okay, this is going to take some time. It's going to take some practice. It's going to fail, but it's okay. This is like everything in the game.
repetition.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something, baby. Ever since I got my Infernal Cape, I've won a lot of players over to come and watch me, and they've all been great. But I think some of them have got a little bit carried away with my success of the Inferno. Now that I've got the Cape, I've had a lot of people asking, "So when are you going to get GM?" And I'm like, "Bro,
Just immediately after.
I'm like, bro, I have an abyssal whip, I have a fucking trident, and an infernal cape. I can't really. I need the gear, bro.
Yeah.
Some GM tasks are very gear dependent.
Slowly but
So this-
surely, man.
Slowly but surely, but some people are definitely getting a bit carried away. I need to learn to walk before I run.
Exactly. And there are actually some tasks that require a shadow, a
Bits.
Tebow, or a scythe, and full ancestral.
Yeah. And I have infernal cape, bro. It's beautiful. Don't get me wrong. It's an iconic item, but I still have pleb gear. People are not realizing that.
Okay, Zars asks, question for Rig. Been watching so many grinds over the years, from Carol's crossbow to enhanced weapon seed to infernal cape. With the exception of the recent infernal cape moment, of course, which one of your older grinds felt the most satisfying?
Both.
Also, say hi to Clive for me.
Clive says hi back, bless him. Bofa.
That was
Bofa.
just undoubtedly the best one for you.
Yeah, hands down, because it's that very item that opens up a lot of doors for the account.
Okay, well, short and sweet. Perfect.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. So we've definitely in the last two casts we've talked about this. I think at least briefly. Ashton asks, or both. He says both prior rig casts have been fantastic. Love hearing the man talk. No questions, but I'd like to hear more stories from his RS2 days. Are there any that come to mind in particular? I'm just putting this on you right now, so those listening listens,
bro, it's the year 2024. I played during the golden era, which was 03 to 07. Let's picture the year 2004, 2005. That was nearly 20 years ago. Time does cruel things to you, bro. It gives us wisdom, it gives us experience, but it also means that distant memories fade away. And I don't know what it is with me, but it's maybe because of my multiple mental disorders, being mentally ill. My memory is not that great when I try and stretch far back. So I do actually feel that a lot of my beautiful memories from the original days of old school are actually fading away, starting to become kind of vague and distant and grey. But one of my favorite memories of the early days of the original RuneScape was runecrafting in the year 2005 when the Abyss came out, with all of my friends back then. Amulet of Glories being 100k each, and having to worry big time about RCPKers. Runecrafting to my first party at. That was my favorite time. My favorite time.
Did you ever have a RuneScape girlfriend in the early days? Any RSGFs that you bought?
No, I definitely had a RuneScape girlfriend. Before I became a runecrafter, when the Abyss was released, I used to cut magic trees. That was like one of the hip things the cool kids did back then.
Oh yeah.
Cut magic trees next to the Legends Guild. When the magic trees actually used to look different. I don't know if you remember the original magic trees, baby, but there was a brown trunk with blue swirling light around them. Used to look different back in the day.
Let me pause you real quick just to get a better visual of this. What were you wearing when you chopped these trees?
Legends Cape.
Did you
That
wear
was
any?
the
No,
flex back then.
did you wear the white Cavalier or anything, or just
No,
the?
I was not a Cav player. Hell no, man. No, bro. I think it was just Legends Cape, cooking gauntlets, and white boots with my normal clothing,
Okay,
if I
that's
remember
clean.
correctly. Yeah, yeah. And when I was woodcutting, I was only about 13. It was the year 2004. When I was woodcutting magics, I actually met a girl there, and she was a real girl. We'll get to that in a second. Her name was Brittany, and it's kind of a brutal story. But do remember, I was like 13 back then, and we were e-dating. We e-dated for like a month. We used to talk on MSN, and eventually she got a webcam, and I told her to put the webcam on. Remember, I'm 13, bro, and she put a webcam on, bro, and in the most respectful way possible, I found her very unattractive, and I deleted her from MSN and blocked her in game and changed her in worlds.
Oh God! Oh no!
Yeah, so I've always had that brutal, blunt side to me, even when I was younger.
Oh
Um,
God! That is
yeah,
so hurtful. It's
if
so
you're somehow
bad.
watching this, if you're somehow watching this, Star Eyes 25, I'm really sorry.
Oh man. Yeah, that
Still
is
remember her name.
damn. Yeah, that's some.
I think it's kind of weird. I think it's probably kind of inappropriate to say details, but man, this was like 21 years ago.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
it is what it is.
It is.
I
Yeah.
was just a kid. I was just a kid, bro. That was my first D date. Now everyone's going to think I'm an incel. Great.
21 years ago. Everyone keep that in mind. Now, I've talked to. I think one of the stories is Ron. Ron plays games. I had him on a few months back. He was just
Good old
talking
Ron.
about. He was talking about how he had a RSGF, but she ended up scamming him because she did a trust trade with him and
Oh,
just
never.
traded him all this stuff, and he's like, oh my god, like the fact that she's trading me all this stuff, like we are meant to be together basically.
Reverse psychology.
And so he traded it back to her because like they're trusting, and then she said, okay, now I want to feel like I can trust you, so would you give me your most valuable stuff and I'll trade it back. He
Yep.
gave it and she logged.
Yep. And that girl might have been cock and balls.
Oh yeah.
That
Oh
was
yeah.
probably
It
a
was a
dude, man.
straight up dude. He was a straight up
Uh,
dude.
he was probably a kid too back then.
Oh yeah, we were all children back then.
Another
Yeah.
core memory I have back in the original days. I think it was another core memory that I have, but it's actually a negative memory. It was my first time being brutalized in RuneScape, and it was the release of Regicide, and I believe this was late 2004. And I remember halberds were the craze back then. New weaponry. How good are they? Everyone's walking around with a rune halberd, a dragon halberd. And I remember I bought a rune halberd because I was a pleb. I couldn't afford dragon back then. I'd yet to see my riches from double nuts in the next year of 2005 at the Abyss. But I remember I bought my my rune halberd, pardon me, and I went to go test it out at Tavily Dungeon on some lesser demons. I thought it was pretty crap, so I went to Sears and I tried selling it to somebody, and he put up 100k or so. And before I clicked accept, he took away the 100k, and I still clicked accept. And I accepted the second window, not realizing that he'd got rid of the 100k. And then after the trade completed, I realized there was no GP in my inventory, and he equipped the rune halberd. He said TY, and he fucked off. And I bawled my eyes out completely. It was the first time that I got scammed. It's the first time that something negative happened to me, pretty much, between
Fuck.
me and another player.
So brutal. That was the move back then. I mean, you could just do that. People really got good at taking away the GP the
Yeah.
very moment. I mean, the millisecond before you accept.
Rune?
They would time it. Like there was like psychology
Yeah,
behind it. Like just
it was.
it's crazy.
It was. But RuneScape back in them days was actually a very scary game. As soon as you stepped out of the bank, you were not safe. You wasn't in the wilderness, but you had to worry about randoms. You couldn't AFK and go away from the PC. Something could pop up and kill you, a spirit tree, whatever they called, or the sea troll. You had to be very careful. And that's exactly why players back in them days wore their best armor going from task to task. It's in case they had to fight a random. You couldn't right click dismiss back then.
Yep.
Every player back then, woodcutting, magic trees or whatever, a lot of them used to wear armor. They're full set.
Yeah, it was a different time period. Just had Ash on last weekend, and
Different.
he was
Yeah.
talking about just the risk that death mechanics on top of what we have nowadays. But we have back in the day. Now, to be fair, grinds were longer because the gear was shittier and our mindsets were shittier, and we're just kids. But we have grinds nowadays that take hundreds of hours. And
That's right.
we're not just stuck with barrows and whips and these other little things that wouldn't take too terribly long. But nowadays, I mean, if we went back to a system like that, oh my God, people would be not having a
We'd be
great time.
getting, yeah, I'm pretty sure they got rid of the old death mechanics because of DDoSing, right?
Yeah, that was
Or something like that. That's right. But back in them days, a death was actually a brutal event. It was tragic. If you died, you lost your shit, and people could pick it up.
it was
It would
traumatic, man.
instantly appear. It was a traumatic experience. I remember, I fondly remember actually back in 2004 fishing at Catherby when that town was absolutely thriving. The lobster fishers, the shark fishermen, the swordfish fishermen, people asking for fishing levels, people at the island in front, going up the stairs from Tavley saying hi to everybody. I remember whenever a sea troll would come appear out of the blue and start attacking someone, as soon as the players noticed that player was AFK, they'd all pile onto a square and start spam clicking as his life bar depleted from the random event, killing him. Good times, bro. Very good times.
It was a really crazy time. I miss some elements of it. Some things will just never get back. Just time has passed. But one of the most special things about those early days were bank sales for me. Just the mystery. I had no idea how many items were in the game. I had no idea
No.
the
Yeah.
riches and the rares and everything. And you pull up to somebody that's level 110,
Which was
and
quite rare back in the
so
OG
rare,
times. It was
so
it was a
rare.
very fascinating sight to see a level 100 plus.
Oh, it was so cool. You just
Yeah.
worship them.
Seeing that level 100 plus bright red.
Oh yeah.
Thinking,
Yeah. So you see this dude, he has like a 3-letter name, level
yeah.
110, and he's wearing, a Robin Hood hat and some like Saradomin rune armor.
Full dragon. No. Back in the day, the flex was not just party hats, but full dragon. Dragon armor back then had a very iconic status because all of the armors in the game were adamant, rune, mithril, but them colors are purple, green, and blue. But that pop of red that you would see of a player wearing dragon, it popped out like no other armor in the game back then, and it had such a status back then to see a player in full dragon med helm, dragon chain, dragon legs, rune boots, because we're talking about 05-ish times right now, abyssal whip, dragon square, legends cape, because it was before the fire cape.
Yep.
That old iconic armor, amulet of glory.
Fucking amazing times. And I remember people would be spamming, bank sale 300. No, I don't even think it was that high. It was something like 30 mil. But for that,
Yeah.
that was like 2 bill nowadays, 30 mil.
Oh, man.
30 mil bank sale. I'm like, dude, I need to fucking see what this guy has. This is gonna
Yeah.
be crazy. This is gonna make me just go wild. And
Yeah.
but they would always say at the end of the message, bank sale 30 mil dash
No
no
noobs.
noobs, please.
Yeah. And then you'd be like, damn.
But
You just wanted to see what they had, right?
You'd have to play up like you're rich. So my level, 64 fucking account that just pulls up with nothing. The worst part is I would actually have done better by just walking naked up to them, because then they might think I'm actually very rich
Yeah.
because I'm so naked. But no, I'd put on my fucking adamant, just looking like
Oh,
a fucking
GG.
dumbass. And I'd go up
GG.
to them, and I'd have something else. I'd have like a dragon pickaxe, or not a dragon pickaxe, a dragon axe. That was like
Yeah.
my item that I would flex, and because I had like 65 woodcutting or something, and
Yeah.
I'd eventually just tell them like, I have the 30 mil, just show the items first. I'd just fucking play that game all day, and they would eventually pull up all the items, and then I'd show my like 28k coins. And they'd X out. Like, get the fuck off.
And say, for fuck's sake,
Yeah.
FFS or
Yeah,
something.
yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah, you see what I do love about what I do miss about the golden era of RuneScape, '03 to '07. That's the golden era for me, was items having mysticism and wonder behind them. Seeing someone in a party out, seeing someone with a dragon chain, you would literally go, wow, oh my god. But these days, sure, we can see Blood Tova, sure, we can see an Infernal Cape. You go, nice, that's pretty cool, but you don't lose your shit like you did when you were younger.
I know.
And that's because back in the golden era, everybody was kids playing RuneScape back then. And the imagination and wonder of a kid is so much more powerful.
It really is. Oh my god. What I would do to just experience one day after school going and like especially when my dad wasn't home, because my dad was very strict with our 1 hour computer time after I turned like 10.
Sure.
But man, if my mom was home, she was so fucking relaxed on that stuff. Like I'd come back from school, finish my homework super quick, just jump on the PC, and I would just go to this is in 2006. I'd go to the POHs and I'd just look for party like house parties and just go there and just chill. And then people would do these things, the hotels. People would literally host like hotels. So you would go into the POH, and then a servant would come to you, a real player that is, the hostess. She would come up and she'd be like, "What room do you want?" Like, and so you'd, follow them to the room.
Role playing.
Yeah, just pure role playing. And then, these people had magnificent homes. I mean, I would go in there and, you'd have to pay a decent fee, like 20K or something to get your room. And then, there's a little butler would come by and like, "Do you want anything to drink?" And they'd fucking give you those little like gnome teas and shit.
Oh, I never got to experience anything like that, bro.
The best, and I've told this story so many times, but just the best thing was going to the throne room with the 2 eat-aters on the throne, chatting shit. And then you have the fucking, there's always a jester there with the full Nate is not jester outfit.
King and queen and the fool.
Yeah, and then I was actually the fool, because I was that fucking clown that would go over to the lever and just pull it repeatedly and just wait for people to drop down the trap doors. And I was so obnoxious. I remember I just became the biggest clown in the room, where I was just talking. I was such a child, but I just talking
Wasn't
shit.
we all? We were all kids.
God, I miss those days, man.
I never got to experience anything quite like that, and it's because even back in, them times, the mid 2000s, I was still always a solo player primarily. I didn't really involve myself with that many people or groupings and parties, etc. Your story of the butler, by the way, saying, "Can I get you a drink, sir?" That actually reminded me of something. I do have a quick little, nice story. When I first played old school RuneScape, the first couple of years when I was runecrafting in the Abyss and acquiring my wealth for the eventual 200 mils, I actually made friends with a person who was also a player that hung out in Edgeville and did his own thing. His name was Pizza Man. Pizza Spaceman, and he was known on that world back then to deliver pizzas to anybody that PM'd him. And sometimes for fun, I would be doing a Slayer task and I'd message him, "Hey man, can I have a pineapple pizza? I don't like pineapple pizza, but I'd just ask for random flavors." And he'd be like, "Sure, where are you?" I'd say, "I'm at Tablet Dungeon killing black demons," and he would come and give me a pizza without fail every time. And he used to do that for so many others. Just deliver pizza. That's all he did. Deliver pizza.
Bro, we need that back. We need that energy back in this game.
Let me see. Pizza Man. He still appears on the high scores, by the way. Yeah. He's still there.
Wow.
Pizza Man. Yeah.
Dude, I'm not going to lie. So I've definitely had my phases with the game where I'm super hyper efficient and really competitive and, putting in a lot of efficient hours into PVM or skilling or whatnot. And I've definitely chilled out. And I think we've both had our moments of, both. I'm not going to lie, though. Like, being able to truly enjoy the game, that's one of the reasons I'm so excited for the group hardcore, is understanding this is going to be a chill, social experience that's just going to be fun. And there's no stress. There's no pressure. I mean, it's a hardcore, but,
I think it's going to be a massive breath of fresh air for you.
It's going to be nice. And I'm not going to lie. there is something so charming about people that actually just role play in this game and do not take it seriously in any way. I mean, it's
Yeah.
purely for the lulz and the fun. Do you ever watch like GTA role playing streamers ever?
I've seen it before, but it's not really my cup of tea. I know what it's about, though. People just pretend to be a policeman, etc.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
seen it.
I never get too wrapped up in it, but I've
Yeah.
occasionally clicked on a streamer I'll watch for an hour or so, and
Yeah.
I just think it's the funniest shit, and it's the best time. It's so troll. It's just like they're actually just playing a game. There is
Yeah.
nothing more to it. It's just I'm gonna pretend I'm this person in this virtual universe and just go along with it and not lose, character. Just
Yeah, just
fucking
goofing around, having a good time.
oh my god, we need that in
You
RuneScape.
you spoke about like, you being competitive and try hard, and I do want to actually touch on that. The only time I've actually ever been competitive in old school RuneScape is when I was a front pager, and that completely wrecked my health. Completely and utterly. It turned me into a skeleton. And my V1 competitiveness, I don't bother with it anymore. I don't want to be high rank at a boss KC. I don't want to try and become the best. I don't think I have that ability anyway. My skill is mediocre on the grand scheme of things. I'm just perfectly content, but just progressing at my own pace. And that competitive side of me has long gone.
Yeah, and
I don't change the way I play for another player. Period.
it's so much healthier. And on top of that, the cultural shift of OSRS. It's not even. I mean, back in the day, if we're talking 8 years ago, it was very impressive to be able to flex your 99 cape.
Yeah,
Ranks were very impressive to a lot of players back then. Again, this is more of the cult following of old school before it got really popularized,
that's right.
2014, 2015 and stuff. And like that nobody, I mean, one, the game is progressive. There's already so many people with 200 mil all, so many people with just insanely high ranks and things, and nobody really seems to care that much anymore. And it's actually a really good,
Oh,
healthy
that's
shift
skilling.
culturally. Well, with
Oh,
skilling
it's
and with
skill.
with any sort of competitive nature, besides, I think the thing where it's kind of shifted to is like I think speed running is more in that line of
Yeah,
there is a lot more of an audience for speed running, but when it comes to
yeah.
skilling, nobody really seems to care. When it comes to just boss KCs, nobody really cares that much.
No, not really. It seems like the main interest these days, in terms of like how what impresses players, it does seem to be speed running and the skill cap with PVM, like, and
Yes,
PKing, of course. Skilling, baby, is dare I say it with confidence, skilling is completely dead and completely irrelevant
it
on
completely
compared.
is.
I'm sorry, compared to PVM. And PKing is completely irrelevant. But back in early old school, when we didn't have not near as much of the content we have now,
It
all
was
we could
everything.
really do was skill.
Yep.
There wasn't much else to do. We had God Wars, etc. But apart from that, the only thing that you could really flex was ranks, etc. But now that the front page is filled up, now we've got God knows how many with 200 mil. Who cares? Who cares, man? It's not that impressive anymore. What impresses players these days is 40-minute Inferno speedruns and Blood Torva, etc., etc. That's what impresses people these days. Times have changed.
Okay, let me switch gears. I have a couple questions for you. Uh,
Wait. One more thing,
okay,
baby.
let's hear it.
I mean, for example, players like Scotty. That's how
Such a
insane,
fucking beast, dude.
bro. That's how far we've, the limit has been pushed these days. People like him, my God, it's insane. I was watching him today doing Inferno speed runs. He's trying to go for a sub 40 run, 40 minutes. He's crazy,
I know.
bro. The
Dude,
dude's a monster. I
dude,
don't understand what he's doing half the time in the Inferno.
you watch him and let me just ask you this, because I'm bad at the Inferno. I've had 13 KC. The last time I even did an Inferno was like 2 years ago or some shit.
Yeah,
I'm awful in there, and I can get it done if I need to, but I'm relatively slow at it. And when I watch Scotty, I'm like, you know what, the Inferno's pretty easy. I look at him do it, I'm like, yeah, this looks easy, like because you're watching a legitimate pro do this
Yeah.
shit, and he makes it look so flawless. Everything's just like butter. Just okay, like he knows exactly what to do. The wave spawns, he's in the middle of the fucking room, knows exactly what to do. It's just everything is mapped out perfectly, and I'm like, wow, this looks really easy. And then I watch somebody that is new at the Inferno, or somebody that's getting into speedrunning.
Completely different skill
It's like,
caps.
oh my god, the Inferno is the most brutal
Night
thing
and day.
ever. Yeah, you watch
Yeah,
it and you're like,
bro.
okay, this place is hard. Never mind, I
The
take it all
skill
back.
ceiling for Inferno is massive. Absolutely massive. That's one thing I've learned after getting my cape. I understand some of the mechanics of the Inferno. The skill ceiling is massive
It's
for
so
that place.
big. And when people master pieces of content, it's so addicting to watch. It's so
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, someone like Scotty, I think, I'm probably going to say corny to say, but a player like Scotty, I believe that's God given, naturally born with it, just a sharp brain, ability to just naturally understand what to do, perfect understanding of ticks. He's just in sync with the game.
Yep. And
Yeah,
you know what?
perfectly in sync.
What is crazy though is we have to remember. I mean, there is true talent behind this. Things that just, as much as you would want to work on it, you could never get to that level. But ultimately, he has put in hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours of practice into this stuff. I mean, he did not
Yeah.
just start playing RuneScape and was that good. And it goes with anybody, even Wooks.
Yeah.
Actually, Wooks is probably the only exception, but everybody else, had to really work.
I still think neurologically you need to have that God-given born ability though. Some
It's
people can practice for
yeah.
hundreds of hours and still be shit.
You're right. And there is this, I mean, this game is a rhythm game. So if you have that natural rhythm built into you,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm one of those I feel like I have a pretty decent natural rhythm. I'm one of those psychopaths that actually taps my foot when I play this game. I'm not
What,
even
for
kidding.
ticks?
Yeah, no, it just naturally like I will get
Yeah,
into
yeah,
it
yeah.
if I'm doing some sort of skilling that's really rhythmic and has a good flow, or if I'm doing any sort of basic PVM, I am tapping my foot subconsciously. It's so weird.
Yeah. Yeah, well, whatever works for you. I would hope that you would do things like that. You're a GM at the end of the day.
Yeah, so I think I have that natural rhythm, but some people have it really ingrained where it's just like they're built different.
Where it's flawless. It's just completely automatic. It's built within their fucking brain. Yeah.
Okay, let me ask you this. The game has progressed a lot. We've obviously been seeing the release of these Project Rebalance updates and everything like that. And I know you've chilled out a lot with your own play style and everything, but let me ask you, is there any updates that worry you about the
Sailing.
integrity of the game?
A new skill, sailing. Yeah.
Explain.
I think a new skill is treading on thin ice, and I reckon it's too early to say because we haven't seen much of sailing, but I believe that a new skill can ruin the feel of the game, change the feel of the game. And I reckon it would be more safe for the video game if we didn't have a new skill, because look at how well the game is doing, baby. We've consistently got 130,000 players online, consistently 110,000 players online. And I think this game would do just fine without a new skill coming into the game because it's risky. It's just risky. It could ruin the feel. But I'm willing to be optimistic. I'm not crying about it on my stream. I'm not crying about it on Twitter. It's still early days, and we'll see. But if I had the power, bro, I'd probably stop a new skill coming.
I will say, yes, first of all, there is risk to it. But
From
ultimately,
what I've seen of sailing so far, pardon me, baby,
yeah, you're good.
it just looks kind of goofy from what I've seen so far. I can't really put my finger on it and just explain in like a detailed manner.
Yeah.
But I just look at what we've seen so far of sailing and I go, nah, this ain't it, man. It looks like an intermediate quest and not a skill.
I'm not gonna lie. So I've been in this sort of like NDA call here and there. I'll be kind of like seeing the steps taken. Obviously, I can't leak anything, but there is so much that really excites me about what's happening.
Okay.
And one of the things that's so good that we have to remember is the game is at its peak right now. I mean, we have so many players online. The updates are phenomenal for the most part. And that is the same team that's working on sailing. I mean, we have built this real good trust with the J mods, the whole team. And the fact that they're putting out good stuff, they know that there's a lot riding on this skill.
Yeah.
And it needs to be good, and it needs to feel old school, and it needs to hit all these requirements. And they're spending so much time and energy on it. It's actually ridiculous when I see the stuff.
I have a feeling that whatever they have planned to show us about sailing next, it will be released at RuneFest. If there's a RuneFest, of course. I think that's if there is one. But at the end of the day, right, that sounds really hopeful, but you have to understand that what we've been shown about sailing so far looks really bland and unimpressive.
It does. The public view of it is not great. And I'll just say, like, when I think of a fully optimized sailing that gets released and you are on your ship, a pimped out fucking colossal ship with the boys on the sea defeating monsters, that sounds so old school, even though it's not. It sounds so old school and so fucking fun. And like the potential of it gets me so excited, honestly. And a lot of that fear has gone away. There still is risk because ultimately the idea of it and the actual feel are completely different. But oh man, there's some exciting stuff.
I'm gonna need to see more footage before I become positive about this.
Totally, that's totally fair. But I don't know. It sounds so old school to be on a fucking ship in the sea with the boys. That sounds so cool.
Doesn't sound like a skill to me when you explain it like that, though. Being on a ship with other players.
The cool thing is, you know, because skilling has lost its sort of prestige, as in, you know, skilling's dead, and as you said, like in that regard, this can really just feel. We don't have to see it as, well, most of us don't have to see it as, you know, we're trying to get our skill up or anything. This is going to feel very natural, and it's going to. I don't know. I think it actually, because I kind of fell in that line earlier on that sailing would be cool as more of a mini game and not have a skill surrounding it. But I'm actually very excited that it is an actual fundamental skill in old school that's going to be coming out. I don't know why.
I'll tell you one thing I'm looking forward to when it inevitably comes out.
Mm-hmm.
It's seeing everybody get smoked on the front page.
It is true. One of the people I feel bad for is Jace.
Yeah, same. As in, like, a lot of the ranks are going to get mega scrambled. And I guarantee, with more than confidence, that rank 5, top 5, top 10, they'll all lose their spot.
Yeah.
1,000,000%. Because, for example, Jace is definitely going to lose rank 2. I consider Jace a friend. I love him dearly. He will get blasted to oblivion because when Jace got 200 mil, there wasn't all that much competition. Yeah, he was ahead of everybody. You know, he started old school RuneScape the day it came out. But now, if sailing is to be released next year, let's say, there's going to be over 100 people with 200 mil. That's an even playing field right now of 100 players trying to go for the same goal.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Jace is probably going to get smoked.
Yeah, no, and I had this conversation on some rambles and some streams and stuff where I was talking about, you know, they were ideating about what do we do about that top page. You know, do we make it so people can re-achieve their ranks, you know? And honestly, in my opinion, I think it should be an open discussion with those players. So talk to the players.
Mean, like re-achieve them?
So something where like your rank is held. So hey, Jace would.
That's snowflake as hell, man.
It is. It's completely snowflake. And the way to classically do it that it hits that old school feel is yes, the ranks get completely scrambled, and that's most people's.
Yeah, that's how it was back in the day. A new skill comes out, fight for your rank.
Yeah, no, that is the case.
I think that's a dreadful idea, man, of having this pretend rank that you used to have.
Yeah, no, I agree, but the other thing, the thing I understand is I am not a player in that position. I don't understand how it feels to care about ranks that much and to really, you know, value your position in the rank. So all I'm saying is I am open for there to be a discussion between those players that are actually in the running for achieving rank 1 overall, for them to decide what it is. Because ultimately, why the fuck do we even care? Like, why the fuck does anybody else that's not in that position even care? Where people that actually have achieved those ranks do care about that. So why not give them that opportunity to talk it out? And to be honest, if you're talking to all people that are 200 mil alt, they probably still will fall with if they were to do this hypothetically. They're not going to fucking do this, but if they were to hypothetically talk to those players, I feel like inevitably it would just be the whole old school feel of no, you have to fight for your rank, and that would be the most fair. But ultimately, that's their discussion. I don't know.
To me, the initial idea of keeping your rank, that's like winning. It's kind of a far-fetched comparison, but it's like winning the Olympic gold medal in the year 2020, and then in the 2024 Olympics, you're trying to defend yourself as Olympic champion. You lose. You get second place, but you still keep the Olympic gold medal. It makes no sense at all. Just because you were the Olympic gold medalist in 2020. Well, it makes no sense.
The analogy I would put is there was a gold medal running in 2000, whatever the hell, 4 years ago. That was a marathon. Who's going to get the first win for a marathon? And now all of a sudden it's turned into a 100-meter dash. So out of you players that just did the marathon, which one of you is the best at the 100-meter dash now? And now you're going to get the new record for the marathon.
Yeah, no, I can't argue with that. It's understandable.
So anyway, my position on it, honestly, is with you, and most players, which is just fight for it. This is old school. You're going to lose your rank.
New skill comes out. That's it.
Yeah.
Get shit on or shit on.
So yeah, it's gonna be brutal, especially for those players that really care about getting that top page. But fight for it. Fight for what you love.
Fight for it, bro. If you care about your rank, that's it. Try your best. That's what skilling has always been.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what all happens. It's gonna be pretty exciting when that skill drops, seeing that race.
Big time. But Lynx Titan, everybody, they're all gonna lose their ranks, man. There's some absolute weapons that are 200 mil. Absolute weapons.
I know. People that will be spending 21 hours a day for...
Some people, Some people that are going to absolutely ruin their health. 20 hours a day.
It couldn't be any more ruined than it already is.
Yeah, pretty much, man. It already takes, an unhealthy mindset to go for 200 mil anyway, man. So yeah, it's gonna wreck a lot of players off going for fighting for rank one. Rank one will be there for the taking.
Yep. So this is a little bit weird of a question, but we have talked about this, how you got into your music taste. I think you always say, Autumn Elegy was that person that really got you into your
progressive house music. Yeah.
Have you ever considered the reason I ask this is because I get burnt out of some of my stream music, and sometimes if I linger on it too much, it's like it changes the stream vibe, and I want to switch up, but sometimes I feel like, oh crap, I can't switch it up because people expect a certain vibe. Yeah. How do you feel about stream music in general, and have you ever considered switching things up?
So I have had the same playlist since 2016, the very year that I started streaming. I created the Resonation. That's the name of my playlist. I created that in 2016 September. And one of the massive benefits of that playlist and why I still play it today without a problem is because there's no lyrics. It's just sounds. And to be fair, bro, when I'm streaming and I'm talking with the chat, it just blends in seamlessly. I kind of forget that I'm playing music. It's kind of weird most of the time. Hard to explain, but because there's no lyrics, it just feels like lovely background tunes. So it's really hard to burn out of it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I do. It's
lyricless music.
Sometimes I mean, even when I was in my trance phases, I mean, it was just, most of it is vocalless, but I don't know. There would be times where I'm like, I really want to switch things up, but I feel trapped. And I would have to push through that. So I have switched up my music in the past couple of years here and there. I'll switch the vibe up. It always feels odd, and I'll get questions occasionally on it. So I guess I was just curious, but yeah, if you're chilling, like fuck it.
honestly, I think it's because I love it so much, and I'm super proud of that music being the DNA, the core, the spine of my stream, and my viewers love it. My viewers know that when they click on my stream, they know that they're gonna get that certain beautiful calming music, and I have great pleasure in still playing it to this day. It's a massive part of the stream, massive part.
Yep, I agree.
So it's something that I have not even come close to burning out on. I love it to this day. But to be fair, it's quite a big playlist too. It's about 50 hours. I think that's kind of big anyway. 50 hours of progressive music.
Do you ever remove songs?
Yes, I remove a lot from like when I added them from back in the day. Some are a bit too boring. So
Yeah.
yeah, there will be some times where I'm playing the song and I'll be like, no way. And I'll just delete it low key.
Good. That's what
Yeah.
I have to do. That's how you
Oh, yeah.
create a healthy playlist. You have to be
Yeah.
able to remove songs.
Yeah, absolutely. I remove songs here and there for sure.
Yeah, you hear it and you're like, I could probably listen to this again in a few weeks. I'll keep it, but there's sometimes like, there's no way I want to listen to this ever
Yeah,
again.
absolutely.
Needs to go. It's giving me bad vibes. Like, nope.
Yep.
Yeah, it's funny how that works. How often do you explore new music and try to add more songs? Do you have like a ritual for that?
Yeah, so I have. So I'm really picky with what goes on my playlist because it's got to be the best of the best. It's got to be absolute bangers, soothing and hypnotic. And I do have certain playlists that I follow on Spotify that get updated weekly with progressive house music. But I only add like a song or two maybe once a month because less is more, and I expect high quality progressive music, bro. So I do update it, but only here and there.
Do you have a favorite song right now? Favorite tune that you're just in love with?
Favorite tune on the playlist right now? It's probably a song called Mystic Falls by Andrew Frenair.
Isn't it
Added it
fucking
2 weeks ago.
Isn't it great to just find a piece of music that just hits so hard, and you've had that
And you
experience so many other times. You're like, no, this is the golden track. No, this
and
is the
you
golden track.
rinse it.
Yeah,
You
that's the
absolutely rinse
worst.
it. Yep.
But it's good because a new one's going to be coming. It never ends.
Yeah.
There's always a refresh. That's the best part. That's cool. I've also noticed, you've been publishing occasional videos on YouTube, vlogs.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Only like once or twice a year. It's nothing frequent. I just feel like I've never been a YouTuber. It's not my cup of tea. I like streaming. That's my content because it's here and now. That's what I love about streaming. It's here and now. It's live. I get to communicate with people. But YouTube, I do like to add a video or two once per year of IRL stuff, just because if I feel like the day is so important or the event is so important, I want to keep it on YouTube as a permanent memory. It's really what I do it for.
For some reason, this thought came. I feel like every cast I've offered suggestions to completely just unsolicited, but let me just cross this by you really quick. Because I again used to watch all your Snapchat stories and stuff. Just click through them, like all my friends' stuff. And
Yeah.
Do you ever watch like YouTube Shorts or Instagram Reels and things like that?
No, I stay clean away from shorts. And
That's healthy. That's a healthy
I
move.
I don't have TikTok. I've never had it. All of these shorts that people scroll by, I am not involved with them one bit.
So let me just say, because there is somewhat of a crossover from the Snapchat, and I know you at least used to. I'm not really on Snapchat much anymore, but
No, I don't really use Snapchat anymore. I post the occasional video here and there, but it's nothing like it used to be because at the end of the day, bro, I just want my personal life to be a bit more private now instead of showing every single thing that I do.
I see. Because I was gonna say, if there is a cool moment or you're, I don't know, just in the mood to share some, short piece of content, I think making a YouTube short occasionally would be fucking amazing for your audience. Like, I would love to see, because I browse my shorts occasionally and I browse my subscriber shorts, and if I could see an occasional rig video of you at a place eating some food or something, that would be phenomenal for me. Just saying.
Sorry, I just drank a bit of tea. So yeah, I do it sometimes on Snapchat, but nowhere near as much as I used to. I just go by less is more these days. I will say, this is one for the podcast. For those that do like my YouTube videos, that I post like a couple of times a year, I will be going into a beautiful vacation next month, Malta. I haven't had a proper vacation in 3 years now. And I'm going to Malta, a beautiful Mediterranean small island south of Italy. I'll be staying there for 7 days, and I'll be vlogging the whole thing in 4K.
That's going to be exciting. I
Yeah,
love your
I
videos.
need
They're great.
I need a vacation, bro. No, I'm not saying like I hate my life. It's not like that, you know. I just everybody needs a lovely vacation sometimes, right? And my last vacation was 2021. I mean, sure, I've been abroad to events, but they were Twitch cons. I don't really class them as vacations, in my opinion, anyway, bro. A vacation to me is a beautiful holiday by the beach or a beautiful city with a friend for like 7 days and just chilling out and forgetting about your day-to-day life that you normally live.
I want to see it. I yeah, I love the vlogs. I know Prison Joe as well. He's one of those creators that makes his little
Yeah, he
vlogs
does.
of Twitch cons and other things. So
Yeah.
yeah. Um, have you been on any other podcasts lately, like Base After Dark? I can't remember.
I've been on one based,
Okay. I thought I
but
watched.
that's it. I've been on one base, but apart from that, it's all been you, baby.
Damn. Dude, there
Yeah.
needs well one okay, so I don't know if you knew, but the old school team is actually creating an official podcast, kind of hosted by Aiza and Sween. So
Really?
it's going to be somewhat Q&A vibes, but a little bit more relaxed.
Okay.
So I'm really excited because I'm a huge podcast consumer and I want
Yeah.
more podcasts in the scene. And yeah, I don't know. I wish there was more podcasting going on in old school. I don't know. I feel like
Sure.
it's really like untouched territory. Like I've been doing it for a few years, but there's so much room
There's
for more
there's
of it.
only a couple of podcasts. You're right. There is only a couple of podcasters.
I mean, there's definitely several more on Spotify, but they don't really get much exposure. I think
Yeah.
partly I'm in the
Actually,
I try to be in the spotlight a little bit more on Twitter and things, but yeah.
I actually did have someone ask me to go on his podcast about 6 months ago. You know, a podcast like yours to talk about RuneScape and
Mm.
whatever else. But I declined him, man, because I didn't know him. And that's probably a little bit toxic. I don't know why, but
No,
I've got to be
no.
like established with somebody before I like have conversations and go on their podcast. And I'm like that, man. I'm like that.
I've declined a couple podcasts in my time as well, which
Really?
is I try not to anymore. So if people
Oh,
invite me,
have you been? Oh, someone to go on you to go on their podcast.
yeah,
Sorry.
and
Yeah,
there
I
have
got
been a
you.
couple times where I've declined, and there have been guests that have declined to come on mine, and I totally respect it. It's just mainly because how I see it is, people don't feel fully comfortable going on certain podcasts and talking for a
Yeah,
few hours with a stranger.
yeah, exactly. I was about to say that I'm not really comfortable with opening up to a stranger that I don't know. Like you, baby, I've known you since before you was a podcaster, so I was always familiar with you.
Hmm.
You know, you'd always pop into my stream when I was on the 200 must Slayer grind. I'd always ask you, "How's uni going?" If you remember,
Hmm.
that was my question for you. How's uni going? Going all right?
I
No.
remember.
So I was always, I was always familiar with you.
Yeah. And I'm trying to like at this point, if somebody were to be growing a podcast, I most
Yeah.
likely would not decline at all
Yeah.
anymore, just because I understand how rough it is to start something. Because I am a
Of course.
podcaster, it's different when you've kind of
Yeah.
lived it as well. So
You are the biggest OSRS podcaster. You know, there's no one that's running the hot business like you, bro, when it comes to podcasting. Let me
until
ask you one
Aiza
thing.
and Sween start coming into the game, they're gonna overtake me.
Maybe, but I'll ask you one thing.
Yeah.
Has someone ever asked you to go on your podcast and you've said
Yes,
no?
yes, but I do it in
Yeah.
the worst way possible, where I'm like, maybe.
Yeah.
It's the fun, dude. Okay. Listen,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go on a little bit of a tangent here.
Some people aren't worthy, bro. Go ahead. Go ahead.
It's it's like okay, I'm a content creator full time, which means I have to make money doing
Yeah.
what I'm doing, and it's a little bit unfortunate in some circumstances because I honestly wouldn't really mind talking to almost anybody. It depends. There's some people that I just really wouldn't want to talk to, but
Sure.
And there actually have been some conversations that have been very brutal for me, where I'm like, I'm not enjoying this. And
And brutal in what kind of way, may I ask?
just brutal as in I'm
Awkward
sitting
or?
there with no real interest to get to know this guy's takes or get to know this guy's thing. It depends,
Okay.
so I'll be in a negative headspace, for example, and I feel sometimes obligated to have somebody on. This is very, very rare, by the way. And
Yeah,
I'm not going to
sure. Yeah.
mention individuals, but there will just be times where I'll even be asked just up front, like, hey, I'd love to come on and talk about this. And it's just like, okay, like, let's do it, because ultimately I want to come across as somebody that's really open to talking to anybody. But
Hmm.
sometimes I am not interested, really. I just feel like I'm doing it for the audience potentially, or I'm doing it for this
Yeah.
person to get,
You
yeah.
you are open to talk to anyone, baby, but at the end of the day, we are human beings and we are all not built to get along with everybody. We are incompatible with a lot of humans in this world, and that's fine. That's completely fine.
Yeah. And one of the things I'm trying to understand is I want to treat the podcast, it is sort of a business
Yeah.
ultimately, but at the same time, it's a hobby of mine. Like, I want to have a fun time every time. I want to have a good time. I want to talk to the people I just want to talk to. That's how it started. I wanted to reach out to people that I wanted to talk to. I didn't want any pressure. I just wanted to reach out to somebody I wanted to talk to for a few hours about RuneScape. And that was the whole gist of it. And I remember making a statement like 3 years back where I was like, if somebody wants to come on the podcast, just reach out to me. That's totally cool. I can respectfully decline, but ultimately it's so uncomfortable to decline somebody, especially when you make a
Yeah.
statement openly, like, hey, like, anybody that's down, just reach out and I'll say yes or no. But
Yeah, you got to make sure that you know that you two might be compatible with one another first, right?
yeah, and it's just the whole, I want an interesting conversation, and sometimes I'm to blame for that, for the
Mm.
lack of interest. And I have failed a lot of times with my hosting, many times, and I'm always very aware of it, especially when I get some criticism in the comments, and I'm trying to improve at making the content interesting and trying to really engage the guest and really try to ask some more
Yeah.
interesting questions. But it's something I have to work on, and every guest is different. And I'm also not in front of them in person. We have no face cam. I'm talking to a stranger most of the time, or I've never even talked to them ever. And there's some audio delay and Discord. It's a mess, and sometimes, but I am,
I've always been.
yeah.
Sorry, go on, please.
No, the last thing I'll say is just like, I'm trying to really just take a deep seat in my podcast and really have fun with it and really talk to the people I want to talk to. And, that's, I don't know. I'm
It's
trying to
it's
enjoy
your
myself.
job, but you've always wanted it to not feel like a job.
Yeah,
The good old formula.
totally.
I've always believed in talking about speaking to people that might make you feel uncomfortable. I've always been an advocate throughout most of my life of making sure that I have a healthy conversation with somebody. I don't talk too much. I like to keep my sentences short and sweet. And if something does spark in conversation where I have to speak about something that my other friend might not be interested in, I will keep that short and sweet and I won't yap on about it. Otherwise, it just becomes unhealthy,
Yeah,
unproductive conversation.
it's tough. I've learned a lot of tough lessons talking with people.
Less is more when it comes to
It
conversation.
is.
I really believe that, bro.
It really is.
Because us being humans, we only have a certain amount of attention span. So
Yeah.
if you keep it short and sweet, you'll capture someone's attention more.
Yeah. The
Less is
other
more.
the other thing is with podcasting, it's a conversation, which is beautiful. Like, we're gonna talk. I mean, we've been talking for almost 2.5 hours,
Oh
and
Jesus, times flew.
yeah, and it feels great. And then what happens is the podcasting gets released to the public, and now you have a bunch of random strangers that are listening to your private conversation. And then they share their input of how, like, fucking stupid you are, or just like, what the hell was that, man? Or praise. And it's like,
Yeah.
that's just part of the internet. And you and I both have put ourselves out there into the online space where
Oh
you
yeah.
get criticized. You're going to nonstop for the rest of your life on content creation. You're going to have people that are
Yeah.
just assholes. And then you're going to have
You
people that are,
cannot
yeah, it's bad.
you cannot please everyone, bro. At the end of the day, no matter
Cannot.
what you could find that you could be a content creator and find the cure for cancer, and someone will still call you a scumbag. It's just the way it is, man.
It's totally true.
But I'll tell you something though, bro. I think YouTube is very brutal, man. Maybe you have a nice community, but places like I love the team, but Behemoth, oh my God, bro, that is a war zone in that comment section. People are brutal and unforgiving in that comment section, man.
I've
I recently got absolutely annihilated for shedding tears getting my first infernal cape.
Oh yeah.
I got annihilated. I got a lot of love for it, don't get me wrong, but I got annihilated too because, well, why is he crying over a video game and why is he saying that it's one of the best moments of his life? But you know what, bro? I stand by it all. This is RuneScape, bro. I play it for a living. I've played it since I was 12 years old. I am a gamer. I've been gaming since I can remember. And I'm proud of what I've accomplished, man. The Infernal Cape, I had thousands of people watching me. I had Signaled with 4,000 people watching my stream. And I finally beat it, bro. And I inspired a lot of people to get the cape. And it was such a magical moment for me that I imagined for a long time. Standing outside of Moral Wreck with that cape, with many people watching me. I didn't think it'd be thousands. And yeah, bro, I cried. I shedded tears, bro. And it was one of the most magical moments of my life because I am a gamer. It is my occupation.
Yep, and you've shared it online publicly, and now people are gonna,
Yeah, I
have
had
their
a lot of
opinions.
people. I had a lot of people counting on me, bro, and I had a lot of people invested in that Inferno grind. And I honestly felt, as corny as it sounds, that I was a main character in a movie, bro, and everybody was watching me trying to succeed against a baddie. You know what I mean? It just had that kind of vibe to it, bro, and I know that I'll never be able to replicate that again. Never, never, ever, ever. Because Inferno is one of the greatest and most famous challenges in this game.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's I thought it was amazing that you finally got it, and it is unfortunate that you had to browse the fucking behemoth
I did.
comments.
I normally don't pay attention, but I really wanted to know what people. I knew I was going to get shit for it, bro, because I cried.
Yeah. No,
Yeah, people like, oh, you're not a man, and blah
but
blah. I knew I was gonna.
you would have gotten shit if you didn't cry too.
Oh yeah, absolutely,
If
bro.
you did everything perfectly, you would have gotten shit on.
Mate, I've done this a long time. I know exactly how it would have gone. If I cry, you're a little bitch. If I don't cry and I don't react, you don't enjoy the game. You pretend enjoy the game. If I went mental and started screaming, cringe reaction. You're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't.
Yep, it's impossible.
Yeah, it is what it is, man. It comes with the territory.
Reddit's bad for me. I'll post some of my content on Reddit occasionally, just to get it a little bit more exposure. It's just self promotion ultimately, but just fucking send it. Reddit, you'd be surprised those analytics. If I post like a JModcast or something on there, it's just the viewership is nuts. I mean,
insane.
I'll see the analytics and it's like 120,000 people saw this post. I'm like, fucking A. Like,
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's wild.
I don't use Reddit myself. I have no idea.
But in Reddit, honestly, I actually don't mind Reddit a lot of the time. But if I make any post, you're going to get some chronic creatures that are chronically online that are going to be typing whatever the hell they want. And what's weird about Reddit is, somebody will say something very negative in an eloquent manner. They'll say something just somewhat, just their opinion of your and as long as the thing makes coherent sense, as long as the message makes coherent sense, what happens is you get people just anonymously just upvoting it. So you're getting one guy's take and it's just like, oh, well, there's already been 10 upvotes, so I might as well just upvote it too. Like, why not? So you just get like this sort of like surge occasionally. If somebody commented early enough about something negative, you'll get some random stuff. And then, it's, I don't know. You're going to deal with it as a content creator.
Yeah, at the end of the day, bro, sure, sometimes hate really hurts just because we're humans at the end of the day, baby.
You just want to put out good stuff. You want to be you want people to like your content, and when it doesn't happen, it just sucks. But you can't.
Yeah, it's a kick in the teeth. Yeah. But at the end of the day, bro, even though sure, sometimes the hate hurts, I am ultimately pretty used to it. Been doing this a long time now. If you jump into the water, you're going to get wet. And it's the same with being a content creator. If you turn on the stream, if you release a YouTube video, you're going to piss some people off no matter what. Because back to what I said before, we're not all compatible. We're not all built to get along. Someone's gonna hate you for no reason. They don't need a reason. Some people just don't like you. Some people don't like me, and that's fine. That's part of being human.
Yep. But the best part though is the opposite, where you get those people that truly show and tell you how much they care about your content and care about you as a person and
Still
want
to
you to
this day,
succeed.
feels amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when it's all worth it.
Mm.
Yeah, what else? What else can we talk about? I mean, we've been going for a while. We've covered pretty much all the topics because we've touched on basically everything that's in there. But do you have anything you want to talk about?
Not really. No. No. I think I've
We've
pretty much touched on everything that I possibly could.
I think this is really nice. 3 full casts of Rigondeaux. What a
Has, has
you have your
there
own trilogy now.
has there been another person that's been on 3 times or?
Yes, I think there. Let me think. So, No Monkey has been on 3 times.
Fantastic player.
Addy Khan's been on 4 times. Actually,
Godlike player.
yeah.
Both No Monkey and Natty godlike players. Pardon me.
Yep. So Addy Khan's been on 4. Addy Khan's only had you've. Let me think. Okay, BC Guppy has had 4 episodes. He's the highest amount of episodes, and every single one of them has been solo. All of your 3 has been solo. Addy Khans have
Yeah.
not all been solo, and No Monkeys have not all been solo. They've only had 1
Am I,
total
am I the
solo.
first? Am I the first 3 solo?
Yes,
Like,
actually,
okay. Hell yeah.
I'm almost certain on that because a Cold One's also been on 3 times, but he's had 2 duo episodes.
All right.
So you've achieved that trophy, and you're also going to be on the year 4 poster. So
Hell yeah, man. I love the last one. The last one was
last one
great.
so fucking good. I want to get that
The-
same artist, but they're so
Please.
busy. They're so busy.
Oh,
I'm trying
they
to.
are.
I'm gonna try to work with them, and also, by the way, both of those posters have to be reworked because of the Defy J situation.
Oh my
Yep.
God. I've forgotten that he's on there.
Yep, he's on both, so I have to get those
Oh,
edited, paid for, recreated, and I mean, nobody wants a Predator on their wall, so I have to.
no.
And luckily, none of these have been sold yet. Because imagine that. Imagine they were already up for sale for. So thank
Yeah,
God I haven't opened my merch store for a few years.
He was planning to make it into a t-shirt, right? If I remember
Well,
correctly.
I haven't even decided what all the merch is going to entail. Hopefully, there will be a T-shirt, but for sure there will be posters.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I'll have to see. Mainly because the T-shirt with 50 fucking people's faces on it might be a little jarring. So I'm just wondering how to really go about
Maybe,
that.
yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. It's a solid point. I actually do want to speak about something, man, and it is about the Defy situation, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
It's bad to talk about, but it's healthy to talk about. Sae Bae, he was my close friend. We used to have banter between one another every day. Every day when I'd stream, I'd fire at least a few banter shots at him, like, oh, him and his mustache and whatnot. And when I found out what he had done, allegedly what he had done, it fucked me up mentally. Because he was one of my friends
Yep.
online.
Same.
And I had no idea. I just thought he was a goofy dude doing dumb shit on his stream. Never in my mind did I think that he was capable of these evil things behind the scenes. He fooled me. He completely fooled me. And I'm pretty sure he fooled most of the community.
He did. And I met him in real life, and we were in the
did?
same Airbnb for a
My
week.
God.
Yeah.
Tell me, what was he like in real life? I never got to meet him IRL. Tell me, please.
He was fun. He was fun to be around. It just he was odd, obviously. And, I don't know. I never am assuming what's going. I'm not like looking at hyper analyzing what the hell's going on in their private life. There's just no. So, we had a fun fucking time. We got to meet. We got to talk by the pool. We got to chill at some parties together and just talk. And, he was fucking fun to be around. And you hear something as evil as that, and it's just so disheartening.
Mind blowing. Yeah.
Awful,
mind blowing.
Awful news. And yeah.
I think to this very day, pardon me, to this very day, out of all of the content creators, new and old, that is the most evil, obscene thing that a content creator in the old school RuneScape community has ever done. What compares to that, baby?
Yep. No, it's fucking awful. And
Yeah.
just I I have been so like I remember when it happened, and I even like called my dad about
Yeah.
the new. Obviously, he doesn't even know this guy, but just talking to him, just everything that was happening in the community and stuff, and about it, and it's fucking brutal. Like it brought tears to my eyes because it's this
Yeah.
one. It's the most horrific thing for the victims. I mean, just absolute evil that they
Um,
ever had to deal with that.
poor, beautiful women,
And then
angels.
you have this guy that has just been completely manipulative toward people that have caused like just
Yeah.
serious problems. And yeah, it was just a fucking mess. And yeah, it's a mess. And you're totally right. It's the most horrific thing we've seen in the community. And
It is. Yeah. And I am naturally a very curious person, and all I can do is be curious, and I just wonder what his status is right now.
yep,
I always wonder what's he doing now. Yeah, obviously it's just shrouded into mystery now. He completely vanished when Anani brought out the video. But I always wonder: is he hiding? Is he living with his parents? We'll probably never know. That's
I know.
it.
Yeah, it's a brutal situation. And I really, I mean, one of the things was, you have this guy that you wouldn't, I mean, obviously in hindsight, people were commenting like, oh, of course, this guy, like, look at all the things he would say and look at all the things he would, the way he acted. Of course, how could we have been fooled by this? But ultimately, you're not trying to hyper analyze everybody's, that people are
Of
just
course.
quirky. And
Yeah.
but one of the
Yeah.
one of the comments, that I repeatedly saw was, who else, which is a really disgusting thing to think, but ultimately it
Mm,
is just it's a reality sometimes where people are evil behind people's backs and they won't,
yeah.
you know.
At the end of the day, human beings, we are incredibly deceptive beings, incredibly deceptive animals, man. And we only show what we want you to know, pretty much. That's what it was. Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, but very fucking sad, and hopefully there's no more things
Yeah.
that come out like that anymore. But
Sorry to bring that to light and bring it to conversation, but I'm pretty sure maybe viewers probably want to know some, thoughts on it. It's
yeah.
fucked, but talking about it is also healthy.
So let's think. When is the next podcast that we're gonna get you back on? What next goal do we need to spark
Uh,
up me inviting you back on the cast?
let's see. I would say when I've become even better as a PVM, I don't really know in what way, but when I've probably got full tour of maybe one of the three great weapons, the T-bow, a scythe, or a Tutankhamun shadow. I call it Tutankhamun shadow, by the way, not Tumakin. It's just the thing I've got for it. Maybe when I've claimed one of the great weapons, then we'll have another podcast. See how I've improved. But maybe when things have changed in life, maybe I meet a lady, maybe I meet Miss Golden Woman. Who knows, right? Maybe in the next year or so. Never know what life brings, right?
Yep. But you're an open yeah, I'm open to have you on at any point. So we'll expect it next year for another the how do you call it? It's not a trilogy anymore. What's four?
No idea.
Quadrilogy.
Quadrilogy. Yeah. We'll
Yeah.
call it that. I don't know. A saga, whatever you call it.
Yeah,
I don't
there it
know.
is. It's probably the saga.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Rig, thank you very much for coming on. For those still listening, down in the description, I'm going to have Rig's links, his YouTube, his Twitch, and his Twitter.
Thank you.
And if you guys want to support the cast, there's also some links down there to support the cast directly, either through Patreon or YouTube directly. And Rig, any last words before we wrap things up entirely?
Any last words? Definitely would like to say, to everybody that's listening, thank you for listening to our voices on this podcast. And whatever you're going through in life right now, life is dark, life is cruel, and life is exceptionally hard for a lot of us. And whatever you're going through in life right now, guys, you can make it out, just like you made out of the past problems you had. You can do it. Keep on being strong.
Beautiful, and wise words as well. Rig, always a pleasure. We'll have you back on next year. For those still with us, thank you all for listening, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
Thank you.